Numading Malawi, Amayadora, Numading Malaya. Hey, you could in Bantu, Numading Malawi, Amayadora, Numading Malaya. Hey, you could in Bantu. Nobody Malawi, Amayadora, nobody Malaya. Yeah, you could in Bantu, nobody Malawi, Amayadora, nobody Malaya. Yeah, you could in Bantu. Ya woli, and then I try to look at that. Ya woli, and then I try to look at that. Hey, you know what you got? You know that I did fine. Pandanija, you know that big pandita, you know what you go, you know that I did fine. Pandanija, you know that big pandita.
Go ahead and share our live broadcast today.
Ya woli, and then I try to know that I'm ya woli, and then I try to know that I'm hey, you know what you got, you know that I did fine. And Pandanija, you know that big pandita, you know what you go, you know that I did fine. Pandanija, you know that big pandita. Nuwading Malawi, Amayadora, Nuwading Malaya. Hey, you could in Bantu, Nuwading Malawi, Amayadora, Nuwading Malaya. Hey, you could in Bantu.
Welcome those who tune in from Nairobi.
Nuwading Malawi, Amayadora, Nuwading Malaya. Hey, you could in Bantu, Nuwading Malawi, Amayadora, Nuwading Malaya. Hey, you could in Bantu. You walk ya woli, and then I try to know that I'm you walk ya woli, and then I try to know that I'm hey, you know what you got, you know that I did fine. Pandanija, you know that big pandita, you know what you go, you know that I did fine. Pandanija, you know that big pandita. Ya woli, and then I try to know that I you copy ya woli, and then I try to know that I you know what you got, you know that I did buy, Bandana, you know not big bandage, you know what you go, you know that I did Bandana, you know not big bandage. Pandegi. Ya, you know what you go, you know that I did buy. Pandaniya, you know that big bandage, you know what you go, you know that I did buy. Pandaniya, you know that big bandage.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. This is Concerned Citizen of South Sudan going live November 21st, 2020. Tonight, very important topic, as you can see on the screen, the two parallel paradox, the national dialogue and ARCISS, the peace agreement. Will President Salva Kiir implement the recommendation this time? I know last week we tackled a lot of issues. We did talk on failure. We did talk what's supposed to take place. Last week, we did conduct Shutu show on Saturday as usual. And then on Sunday, the Sunday version was in Dinka with Prof. Morwell Atar Morwell, Rabbani Tawul Umru. And tonight, as you can see on the screen, this is our main topic. And my guest today will be Ustaz Dengira Yok and also Walatak, Moses, Edward, and others who may be interested to tune in so they can have their perspective heard. I welcome all of you all around the world, concerned citizen of South Sudan. As usual, the place for the truth. We are here to educate, to preach, and talk about the real issues in our country. We are all aware that national dialogue that was proposed in the late 2015 and kicked in 2016 just to sabotage the peace agreement that was signed in Addis Ababa in 2015. We are aware of that, and we did talk about it. Actually, it's not going to go anywhere. President Salva Kiir simply introduced that as a parallel process to peace agreement, to sabotage peace agreement. We are all aware of that. And we did talk about it, that actually nothing will come out of it. I know those who participated, initiated national dialogue. Actually, they came out with a solid recommendation. on that in 2017, 2018. And we're all aware that actually the solid recommendation that they came out with was for those two leaders who are interested in violence, who put our country behind, should get out of our people's life and allow Sudanese with the light-minded, with ambitious of development in the country to take the lead. I bet all of you are aware, in that time, President Salva Kiir did not like those recommendations. And that's why everything, all the process went numb on 2018. And even I was making a joke. What happened what happened to a national dialogue? Last year, we've been talking about it. What happened? What happened? What happened? And there was no answers. You remember in 2016, 2017, when we keep talking about these issues and everyone is saying, no, you know what? You just give peace a chance. And we were saying the peace agreement that was signed, actually, it was not genuine, but none of those from IO or from different other opposition camp gave us an opportunity. So we were right. The National Dialogue, Salva Kiir Mayardit, did not like those recommendations, and that's why he put it away. Now, all of a sudden, because they have to move to implement peace agreement, and we are all aware, he never interested, implementing any peace agreement in the country. He never interested in developmental project in the country. He never interested bringing justice and liberty for the people of South Sudan. That's why, after they remove the main component, which is President Kiir should step aside, which is he doesn't like, that's why he made a very famous statement in 2017, what is my incentive if I have to sign peace agreement and then go away? What is my incentive? So President Salva Kiir actually, did not like those two recommendations that actually should step aside. Now, after they revise the national dialogue, after they revise it, and they remove those, article talk about him giving the power to someone else, now he is okay with it. And he brought it back, right, to sabotage peace agreement that they have signed in Khartoum in 2018, September 12th. So, my dear brothers, I don't want to dwell on this more because I have more guests coming here tonight. I want to give that opportunity for Brother Walatak, the chairman of the United Citizen for Change, to come here and also weigh in. And then we'll be waiting for Ustaz Dengdit, Ayok, and others to come and weigh in. I want to remind our viewers, though, we agree to disagree. This is no spin zone whatsoever, right? I will not allow any insult. You can weigh in, you can make your perspective, but you have no right to insult somebody if you have disagreement with. So thank you so much for tuning in one more time, and I want you to go ahead and share our live broadcast tonight. So many people be able to tune in. I see that some people here are watching from YouTube, actually, because we link it with the YouTube. That's the good news. And we upgraded, and you can see the features are much clearer because this is the new HD. It doesn't cost that much, $45. South Sudan can do the same thing with SSBC, so they can have a clear picture too. But because they don't care about that development, they don't care about anything in the country, that's why always they are backward. Ustaz Walatak, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. I do see you there. Good to have you, brother.
Thank you.
I hope the network will cooperate here momentarily. So as you can see, the question of today, Ustaz Wal. Okay. The question of today here, you can see it here. The two parallel paradox, which is the national dialogue and the ARCISS, the peace agreement. They are going, بيقولوا بالعربي متوازيين, parallel line. And of course, they will never cross parallel line. Will Salva Kiir implement recommendation this time around, or we are just still the same old, buying time, wasting time of South Sudanese people? Ustaz Wal, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Ustaz Jonkor, and I also thank the audience for tuning in today to listen to us. I first would want to begin with the peace agreement. And peace agreement, where there is peace agreement, there must be absence of peace. In order for us to get the genesis, or not the genesis rather, but the clear picture of current peace situation in the country, we have to visit that. And the peace agreement came in as a result of war that we all know, and the genesis of war was engineered as a counter to the elections that was to take place in 2015. The agreement, as you remember, were on the three main contentious issues, where President Salva Kiir wanted the delegate of the SPLM to the national convention to vote him by show of hands, and that he must be given the 5% of that delegation, the 5% of 1,000, that would be 50 votes that he would handpick and add to the team. When the rest of his colleagues rejected that or objected, it resulted into the current war. So you could tell by that whether the peace agreement that came as a result of efforts by the international communities, by the regional friends of South Sudan, and our brothers within the region of Africa. It came to like 2016, the peace agreement was signed, giving the government another clean slate of opportunity for it to implement and draw South Sudan back to the promised land that the independence give to the people of South Sudan. Guess what happened? It was 2016 war, and there was no call for it. The cause of the 2016 war was mainly because to redirect the war, the peace agreement or the elections that is to come, deflected away from the purpose. Now with the national dialogue, I'm just giving you the summary of it, but I will get into details.
Of course, take your time.
With the national dialogue, the national dialogue, in my opinion, is being used as a tool to keep us busy, but not implemented, just like the peace agreement is not being or was not being implemented. I'll give you an example. The reaction of the President of the Republic, President Salva Kiir, in regard to the recommendations. He turned around and accused the public and said, well, the problem is not the SPLM, it's not himself, but the public of Sudan who are actually the problem because they don't abide by the laws. They create the problem.
I hear that.
But critically, when you look at it, does the public really have a much say? He has been delegated to ensure the rules of law exist in the country. He's the head of the state. He's the executive. He's the president of the republic of the country. In fact, if the top violators of the South Sudanese laws is the executive, is in J1, for example, removing elected governors by decree and appoint a new person that has no mandate is actually a violation of the Constitution of the Republic of the South Sudan. Allowing individuals to loot the country and let them go free off the hook because they are friends or because they are the people that are trusted is a violation of law itself. So the first violator is the president himself, to speak. The citizens of South Sudan are not. Now, with the peace agreement and the national dialogue lead or come together, of course, let me clarify something to my audience so that you understand before I make these conclusions.
Okay. Go ahead.
National dialogue is very, very important for a country. But the objectives and the political will to implement it is key to its success. Let me put it another way. National dialogue helps us as a nation to mend our differences. But here, the national dialogue that would have helped, or the approach to it, as I've written about it in 2016, was that let's not beat around the bush and look for the symptom as to address why the communities look like they are against one another or they're in conflict to one another. The problem is within the government itself. Let's recognize that the president and the members of the SPLM that has liberated this country through taken the armed, signed and gave us opportunity to vote in the referendum. Let's recognize, and at the same time, let's have a word with the president Salva Kiir, and let's have a word with the leaders of the war. It should be leaders negotiating and find a way of creating exit, safe exit, and continue to protect them because they have play a very important role. If you ask me, I would say Salva Kiir has made effort during the war. He sacrificed his time, but there's a limit to human being. Science tells us that our body is designed in a way that what we give it, it's what it gives out. But it reaches a point that it reaches a curve, the maximum of it, that it cannot do anything more. It loses strength, loses the muscles, and it starts declining, irrespective of what you give to it. If that is the case, therefore, it is important to recognize that there's a limit to what we give and what we do. And the limit to the president has come to his group for the SPLM to say, okay, if you cannot produce a successor, then let the country a chance. Let's negotiate and give him the protection that he deserves, recognition that he deserves. But he has to do it in his home. We'll protect him in his own house. We will provide for him in his own house. But let him give someone a chance to do this, because his limit has come. It has been long work for him since the Anyanya won, the SPLA. It was a long work, and he has reached the limit. There's nothing we can add. If anything, it will just taking it away. Let me get back to the point with my brother Jonkor.
Before you get to that point, I was going to read. I was going to read here what he has said about the society in his speech.
Okay.
The speech that he couldn't even, he was not able to read it, effectively to the audience. It was shaky for some reason. What he said here, actually, Galik, part of what determines progress in any society is the attitude of its population towards guiding law and regulation. So, actually, he's saying that any success of a nation is always attitude of the society. But people of South Sudan, they have been given and caring for 22 years, giving their chicken, giving their goats, and they have good attitude. They supported the SPLM. They did put in, they voted, they sacrificed, right? What President Kiir tried to do here, he's trying to blame, his mess on South Sudanese people, on South Sudanese citizens. I want you just to weigh in on that regard.
The problem of, the problem of South Sudan is not the people themselves. It's a leadership problem. It's a leadership problem in the sense that South Sudanese are and had been law-abiding citizens. And like any other human being, we are prone to errors. And that's why we have laws to beat us back to the line. But the attitude of South Sudanese is amazing. Let me just illustrate what I had, for example, with one of my colleagues in the media long time ago. He said the people of South Sudan in Africa are at least do not need civic education, civic education. That's why I said they're well informed and they're very cooperative with the government.
Very resilient people.
South Sudan has a wonderful people. But what we've lacked is a leadership as illustrated in the speech of the chairperson of the National Dialogue. What did he say? He said, well, the problem is the SPLM, the problem of the country is leadership. And I think the president wrote in defense. Didn't the speech outside the defense, it's within the defense.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So the people of South Sudan have made a decision to elect the President Salva Kiir by 98% or 95% during the elections that we have entrusted you to lead the country. We have given you authority to make sure that the rule of law exists in the country. It is not right, therefore, to return and say to blame them for having failed to implement what you have been given to do. The rule of law is what keeps the country moving, and it doesn't come from the civilians. It comes from having the structures. You have the police, you have independent judiciary, you have courts. You have law enforcement agencies like correction centers. When an individual person messed up or committed a crime, then it goes through the normal process and make sure that it has happened. It is not up to the criminal to say, come and arrest me, I've committed a crime. It has never happened. And it will never happen anyway, even in the Western world where there is rule of law. What is lacking is the government, and our president need to address himself to it. Need to address to it to fight crimes, to fight poverty, to fight corruption. That is the mandate he has been given. He kept zero tolerance to corruption as a policy during the elections. He came up with a policy of rule of law, but rule of law fell off with the hands. Therefore, it is not right to turn around and blame the public.
Now, Ustaz, before I let you go, people of South Sudan, a few don't know actually what Salva Kiir is doing from very beginning, since 2012, 13, and 14, and going, onward. A few just don't know, but the majority of people knows actually this guy, he just wanted to remain in power. That's what it is. Okay, that's why he did not want, to democratize the SPLM party. That's why he refused. Okay, that's why he sabotaged peace agreement and so forth. They created war and all this thing. Now, some people are still don't get it, but they are seeing what's happening. Now, with the issue of national dialogue, that they froze in 2018 because the recommendation said that he should step aside. Him and Riek Machar. Okay. Now he made sure that those articles talk about him to be removed on power are just step aside. He brought back national dialogue. Do you think he's going to implement recommendation that came out of this national dialogue?
For one, he will not implement them because anything that has President Salva Kiir to step out of the office cannot see the day of the light. See the daylight. You've seen it in successive peace agreement that has been violated. You've seen it by Parliament being asked to extend the mandate of the president, something that does not exist in the law, but he takes it and said that the mandate of the president has been extended, and the mandate of the president does not even, he's not sworn in the second time. He just said, okay, my mandate has been extended. That one expired, and he takes up the new mandate without even getting the oath of the office. That it shows that he is not willing to relinquish power. Second, can be seen in approach to peace agreement. When the peace agreement is getting on board, the president and his group, of course, the fighting parties, including Riek Machar, are not exalted from this. They will find a reason to fight in order for them to delay the election and delay the verdict of the people on them. Therefore, I conclude that the president will not implement the resolutions and the spirit of the national dialogue, because it asks him to get out of the power. And you put it correctly when he said, if I sign this peace agreement, tell me what is my incentive. So this is the message to the nation, and that's what we need to pick up from. What is the incentive that we need to start talking about? Maybe president is worried of the concept that the power leaves his yet. Maybe he's afraid he would be persecuted because of the human rights violations that have occurred in the country at his watch, because of the massive corruptions that has happened in our country, whether he's involved or through negligence or direct involvement, it comes on him. And he needs assurance from the nation.
Okay, that I like to pick up from there, Ustaz Wal, because many South Sudanese are hesitant when it comes to that point. President Kiir in 2017 actually has spoken, and he said, what is my incentive? Knowing the mess that they have been created, killing, jailing, looting, taking loan, putting country in a mess, causing, creating anti-communal conflict in the country. Now, when he said that, what is my incentive? What does that tell South Sudanese people? And is there any room for South Sudanese people to say, okay, now those generals, they have guns, they have whatever, they want to protect themselves. They looted, they did this. What do we need to do in that regard? Should we move toward the plan of South African, the initiative of Bishop Tito, I think I call him Tito, sometimes I get his name wrong, that actually
Tutu,
in order to have a healing in the country, and at least to get what left over, زي ما بقولوا بالعربي بس حرام يضيع باقي العمر البسيط ده, the only thing that we left. Can we take this and let these guys go away if the incentive that they're looking for I want you to weigh in on that. I don't know how to put it in perspective. Go ahead.
I think we need to come into conversation about that. Either we are as oppositions or as a people of South Sudan. What is at stake by keeping Salva Kiir on? And what do we gain by assuring him and let him go? It's the national dialogue that can give this. And that's why I wrote several years back that we don't need this kind of national dialogue that you are putting across, Mr. President. We don't need you to sit as a chairperson over this national dialogue. What we wanted of you is to step that aside and give us your position. Give us what you want, and we'll dialogue with you. And if you convince us, then we can give you and let you go home. As the head of the state, we will have responsibility to make sure that he's safe. As a former head of the state, we will make sure he's treated well, as his hospital treated, though we don't have a good one in the hospital in Juba. His car, his security, and so forth, we can have it. But he needs we need him to come up and say, I want this. Give me this, so that we can dialogue over it.
Maybe he's feeling like, oh, if I start initiating, these people are going to reject it. I said, oh, no. Maybe maybe he's thinking that it should come from the national dialogue, those who were initiating. I don't know. I could be wrong. But well, this is a very important conversation that South Sudanese need to have, you know, in order to save the country. We don't want South Sudan to go down to the grave with Salva Kiir. We want to keep we want to save South Sudan. In order to save South Sudan, those with the guns, it's very difficult for them to go away because they are fighting us. They are resisting. And the only way you have to have that conversation. You go home, okay, let's sit on the table. What do you need? What can you offer? What can we offer you to leave us alone so we can move with this country? I think, Ustaz Wal, I'm going to let you go for now. I want to give Dengit an opportunity because network sometimes doesn't cooperate where he is. But I need you one more time. I will bring you back again. So, Ustaz Dengit Ayok, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. I hope the network will cooperate this time so we can move on. I know this conversation, some people may say, no. Some people, they don't want to hear this. You know, when we say that, we need to have a conversation. What incentive Salva Kiir need and Riek Machar and others who cling to their guns, to the power, should, like you said, Walt said something very important. Okay? We either let this, you know, drama goes on and people of South Sudan are not going to benefit and it's going to benefit those elites, or we can have a negotiation and let them get out of our life and move on with this country. Ustaz Dengit, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Jonkor. I hope I am heard very clearly in your end.
You are very clear.
Thank you. First of all, I greet you personally, and I greet Brother Walding Attack for being present to discuss this important topic together. I would like to appreciate and commend you for what you did last week.
Thank you.
That was bringing in Ustaz Morwell, Ater Morwell, to speak out to our people concerning the very topic we are rediscussing tonight. And he articulated his opinion so well and very clearly. And that was really, really very good. And I was so happy because most of us who speak here are young people. If elders like Morwell Ater Morwell come and talk about the national issues,
I hope this thing
and call for a popular uprising as a political method, go on with the message of change. So I commend you, and I also commend him for the great message he delivered to us. The message was the message might have been limited to a limited number of people, but the language in which the message was delivered was actually a great language. Rin Morwell, Ater Morwell, a ci jam thong monjang. Ku bu wet bu kwanye patten mi monjeng. Ku big day di ngwelwela ban Kiir Mayardit ka dil jan. Ku jala reason welwela yen ka dil jan. I ci ke tedi create man hi tedi ya pat thong monjang. Ashan bi mi monjeng. Ku big ping pap ku ded ki pat kene chu nya ta pe. Rin o wa jam tan thong jur. Ku wa jam thong koyger. Te kala koy ko kene dedi in ke ko jam thong arab bin ko jam thong jur ke na konar ci Morwell dit ken ka pen ku bi ku je wetedi thong monjang bi mi monjang bi ping thong den e wer pa pa di ko cha yum po pa di kene ke le janin ko le janenia rin ken ka ben. And for those who don't know Morwell Ater Morwell is a great teacher. He's a great teacher of Dinka language. In the 1990s, he had been in Khartoum, and they were the one teaching the Dinka language to our people in Khartoum. They formed an association that was called an Association for Dinka Development, Morwell Ater Morwell was one of those who were teaching our language. They were also leading the struggle because their poetry, and they were encouraging people. So Morwell Ater Morwell was one of the teachers, one of the scholars, one of the philosophers that were teaching the young people their language and urging the young people to keep their culture in the 1990s in Khartoum, together with those of Dudwal Ngeng. Dudwal Ngeng is famously known as Dude Nyadit. Yes, because many people know him by his name as Dude Nyadit. And they wrote a lot of books. I have one of the books here, a books of poetry. I sometimes read their poems in Dinka when I have free time at home. So we commend him for joining the free voices of the young people who are calling for change in South Sudan. I greet our people across the country and around the world, and particularly those who are watching this show. And I would like to say, may I take this opportunity to introduce myself to the viewers of Concerned Citizens of South Sudan. Simply, my name is Dendi Dayok. I'm a journalist, writer, political commentator, and political activist. In a very brief, or in a nutshell, I'm a concerned citizen of South Sudan, and I'm so happy to be here and address the issue of national dialogue in line together with the issue of the revitalized agreement for the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. So let me start, or let me begin by the national dialogue. Brother Wall had said very important things about the dialogue, and I want to add more. I would begin with the background. When did the national dialogue start? This is a question we ask. The answer is very simple. The national dialogue started on Wednesday, December 14, 2015, when the President of the Republic, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, went to the parliament and addressed the parliament. And in the speech that he delivered to the parliament, he announced the national dialogue as a means of resolving the conflict in our country. Now, this is the background of the national dialogue. It started on that day, December 14, 2016, and that day was Wednesday. If you go back to the calendar, you will find that it was Wednesday. So the next question we can ask is, what is national dialogue? Before we talk about national dialogue, what is it itself? I can say that national dialogue is a rational, civilized, and political means by which people of one country that are undergoing conflicts or national crisis like us in South Sudan comes together to collectively devise and agree on solutions to the challenges facing their country. So this is like a brief definition or explanation of what national dialogue is. Again, we can say that national dialogue is one of political mechanisms and methodologies that are used worldwide in resolving conflict with the aim of reaching solutions through a frank and transparent dialogue that provides solutions to the problem facing a country or a state. I have a book here written by one of the eminent personalities and one of the elders who happened to be a member in the steering committee of the national dialogue. In his own word, he defined what is the national dialogue, and allow me to quote in his own word. This is this book is called South Sudan National Dialogue, Conceptual Reflections. It is written by Dr. Francis Mading Ding. This book was published in 2017, And he defined the national dialogue here in his own word. He said the following. He said the national dialogue is an opportunity to address the complex web of conflicts afflicting South Sudan through a top-down up process that links the national, regional, and the grassroots levels of the interconnected conflicts. And then he went on to say this: achieving the national dialogue goals requires reinforcing and strengthening traditional authorities whose ability to contribute to the maintenance of law and order and to the security and stability of the country at the grassroots level has long been tested. So you can see here that we have three different definitions of what national dialogue is. First of all, I said it is a rational, civilized, and political means by which people of one country that are undergoing political conflicts or national crisis can come together and collectively they talk and they agree on the solutions to the challenges that are facing them. That is one. In other words, I said it is also a mechanism and methodology that is used to resolve conflict that are facing one people in one country through being frank, that is to tell the truth, and then the dialogue has to be transparent, and it has to provide solution to the problem that are facing a country or a state. And here in this book, Professor Mading is very clear. He's our former ambassador. He's telling us that national dialogue is an opportunity to address the complex web of conflicts afflicting South Sudan. What is their method? They said through a top-bottom-up process. This is the method they are using. They start from the top and then they go to the bottom. In other words, they start with the leadership of South Sudan and then they go down to the grassroots, to the people in the villages. And then he said here that the national dialogue has to achieve one goal, and the goal is to reinforce and strengthen the traditional authorities. He's talking about the traditional authorities here. He's talking about our chiefs, right? These are the chiefs. It is to reinforce and strengthen traditional authorities whose ability to contribute to the maintenance of law and order and to the security and stability of the country at the grassroots level. So they are using chiefs to participate in the process of national dialogue. These are the definitions. Now, the next question would be, these are the definitions. These are the theoretical definitions of what we call national dialogue. Are these definitions being implemented on the ground as they sound? Is this what I read out? Is this what is actually going on the ground in South Sudan? You may, some of us may say, yes, this is what is going on. And some of us may say that, no, this thing is not happening like that. Let me also quote something that President Kiir said on that day when he was addressing Parliament. He said, the objective of national dialogue is to end all forms of violence in the country. Let's stop there. He said, the ultimate or the major objective of the national dialogue is ending all forms of violence in the country. Because we have all forms of violence in the country, right? We have many rebels movement, the SPLM, which is the ruling political party. And I would like to say here that it was the ruling political party. because SPLM is not now
Is it
a ruling party.
Yes.
It was a ruling party. When they used to come together and sit down as political bureau of the SPLM, before they split in 2013, they were a ruling party. They were one party. They were together. But now, I can even say that there is no SPLM. SPLM has turned to be one man. That one man is now the political bureau, and he is now the SPLM himself. So there is no SPLM. It has turned into an NCP thing. It has turned into an NCP thing, and therefore I'm saying that there is no SPLM. So back to the word of the president. He said the objective of the national dialogue is to end all forms of violence in the country. Now, our next question would be, who caused all these forms of violence that the president talked about on December 14, 2016? Because he's like coming up with an initiative to end all forms of violence in the country. And the legitimate question is, who caused all those forms of violence in the country? The answer is already there. Ustaz Wal has said it, and I'm going to repeat it. The cause of all political violence and the cause of all communal violence in South Sudan, all political violence, were caused by the SPLM, which is the ruling party. I said this in September 2014, and one of the SPLM members was so angry with me. I said it in an article published in one of the newspapers in Cuba, and he became so angry. But a year later, that man suggested that SPLM should be split up into, should now be divided into several parties so that they can compete in a democratical political environment through peaceful political means instead of resorting to war. So, briefly, the trouble caused, those who have caused the conflict, those who have plunged the country into ovens of political violence are the SPLM, the SPLM leaders. What is the evidence when I accuse? Because somebody may take it like an accusation, but it is an accusation that can be supported by an evidence. I say that the SPLM are the one who caused the current political mess, the current bloodshed, the all forms of violence that the South Sudan is suffering from was caused by the SPLM. Did the SPLM one day admit that they are the one who caused the trouble in South Sudan? Yes, they did. Let me refer all our viewers to the agreement that was signed in 2015 in East Africa. The agreement was called Arusha Agreement.
Yes.
The aim of that agreement was to reunite the SPLM after it is split into many political factions. So they went and sit down in Arusha, including the SPLM-IO, including the FDs. All right? They went and sit down in Arusha, and they signed an agreement that was known as Arusha Agreement. Now, if you read the preamble of that agreement, you will find that the SPLM collectively, whether it is SPLM-IG or SPLM-FDs or SPLM-IO or any other type of SPLM, they all collectively admitted that they are the trouble causes in South Sudan and that the death of the people of South Sudan was caused by them. So in that document, the SPLM leaders confess that they are the troublemakers in South Sudan. This is number one. It is not only a confession, it is they condemn themselves. They actually condemn themselves through that document. So when Angelo Beda said on the 3rd of November, on the 3rd of November this month, on the 3rd of November, Angelo Beda said that the people of South Sudan said that the SPLM is the troublemaker and that Salva Kiir and Riek Machar must go. One of the SPLM members became angry that is Honorable Elena Ayeng Alew. He became very, very angry and he attacked Angelo Beda. And he looked at him as an Equatorian instead of looking at him as
Go ahead. Sorry, Dengit. The network.
And a veteran. So this was.
Yeah, Dengit, can you repeat that?
So the SPLM.
Dengit, can you repeat that statement again? He looked at him as what? Because the network was just throwing you out.
I was saying that Elena Ayeng look at Honorable Angelo Beda, the co-chair of the National Dialogue, as an Equatorian. He did not look at him as a South Sudanese. He did not look at him as an elder and a veteran politician. So this view tells you that the mentality or the real mentality of the SPLM leaders. Why should they become furious of the problem that South Sudan is suffering from today? They should not be angry because they admitted it in Arusha agreement. And Salva Kiir himself asked the people of South Sudan to forgive them. To forgive them for what? He was asking the people of South Sudan to forgive them for messing up the country. So that one is an evidence that the current suffering, the current tragedy, the current plight in the country was caused by the SPLM leaders. And therefore, if any SPLM leader or any SPLM member, okay, would come out and say that it was not us who caused the problem in South Sudan, then I would tell him that you are not saying the truth, or you would like to deny the truth. People such as Honorable Elena Ayeng Alew. I respect him as an elder, but I'm criticizing his statement. I don't have any personal problem with him, so that those who are listening to me should not take my statement regarding what he said about Angelo Beda as a personal attack at him or as a personal problem with him. We don't discuss personal issues here. We only discuss national issues
and views. And
we only mention names of people because they are related to the matters that we are discussing here. So it should be very clear to all our audience and to whoever is listening to us here. So the president talked about ending all forms of violence in the country. And he announced the dialogue by the end of 2015. And then in 2017, a steering committee was formed under the chairmanship of Abel Alier, together with Angelo Beda, with Bona Malwal as the rapporteur, with Dr. Francis Madingding as the deputy rapporteur, plus others. And of course, they have many secretariat. That is the background of the National Dialogue. And then I would like to make a comment on what I read in the definition in the book written by Francis Madingding. He said the method they are using in the National Dialogue is a top-down, bottom-up. Top-down, bottom-up, which means they start with the leaders of the country and then they go to the grassroots. They start, I don't know how did they start it, but what I know is that they started with themselves in Juba, because in January 2017, you find that Bona Malwal was reconciled with some leaders of with some political leaders who comes from Abyei. All right, and then he in that month he paid a visit. He paid a visit to Abyei as a gesture of reconciliation, as part of what of national dialogue, and it is here in the book. That is one. I don't know whether they went to the president himself and all the leaders of the SPLM and all the government officials, because he's talking about a top-down, bottom-up process, which they have adopted to use for the national dialogue. be asked. Why? Because they are the trouble causers. They went down to the people of South Sudan, as they allege. They went down to the people of South Sudan, and when they went to the people talk a lot, and they criticized the government, and then the videos were recorded. When the videos were brought back, the president said that the videos should be played on the national TV. Some of the videos were played. Some of them were not allowed by the national security.
We couldn't hear you, Dengit, for some reason because the network keep cutting off again. Dengit, can you go ahead and refresh the device and then come back? I want you to refresh because what you are saying is very important to our audience, to understand. Refresh that device and then come back. We'll continue because this is very important, And if you are one of the people who join us momentarily, our discussion tonight, you can see on the screen, we are talking about the two parallel paradox, the national dialogue and the ARCISS peace agreement that was signed in 2018 in Khartoum. So these are the main topic we are discussing today. So Ustaz Dengit, go ahead and refresh and then come back. And also I wanted to add something here. Sister Atong have said that President Salva Kiir, he liked President Kiir. Salva Kiir said, yes, we all like President Kiir as a person, but not as a president. He's always, and I can see that, I can put that up here. I really like President Kiir as a person, and we all do as a person, but not a president. His appearance looks so sad, like he can't handle Junubin anymore. Well, this is how he has been, because he's always angry. And I don't know, what does that mean? It means that if you are tough on the camera, if you are tough on the public, you think that's how people are going to just scare of him and let him leave? I don't know. We have to leave that to those psychologists, because I don't see him, even he's smiling with his colleague. This is what I have been seeing him. Is the temperament, what is that? I have no idea. But yeah, you're right, Atong. He should not handle issues of South Sudanese, because if you are angry and always sad and you don't even have a hope, no good ambitions with that nation, why are you there then? Why are you there? You don't care about them. You don't want them to move. You don't want to bring in anything good. Why are you there? You should go home and relax, right? Ustaz Dengit, welcome back. I apologize. Your network, they keep throwing you out, but hopefully, we'll cooperate this time and then we'll move ahead. Go ahead, Fadal.
Thank you. I hope the network would cooperate with us. Now, I want to sum up my point so that I can give a chance to Brother Wall to also make his comment.
Go ahead.
So, the steering committee was formed in 2017, and then the elders begin by themselves, and they went to the people. And then the videos were brought back, but not all of them were played on the national TV, because the citizens were very critical of the government. Now, another question is this. Were all the people of South Sudan asked as to what the problem is in South Sudan? It is not all the people of South Sudan that were asked. Why?
I'm sorry to cut you up. Even those in diaspora, when they launched the national dialogue, they said it's going to include all South Sudanese from all different walks of life, including the diaspora. None of diaspora have been,
been asked.
Yes. Go ahead, something.
Yes. So it was not all the people of South Sudan that were asked. It was a limited number of people that were asked. And the reason why it was not all the people of South Sudan that were asked as to what is the problem, so that they can speak out frankly and transparently, is that there are no people in South Sudan. Because the people of South Sudan are refugees in Kenya. Kakuma is full again, as it was in 1990s. The people of South Sudan are refugees in Uganda. The people of South Sudan are refugees in Congo. In Sudan, the neighboring Sudan, the country we succeeded from.
Mm-hmm.
And here in Egypt, where I'm speaking to you, we have a lot of them. So when the government said that the grassroots were consulted, then this is not accurate. Where are the grassroots? And they are all scattered as a result of the problem that they created themselves as the leaders of the country. So when they said that the people of South Sudan have talked, it is not all the people of South Sudan. It is only the people that were in Juba. It is maybe people in Bahr Ghazal, because Bahr Ghazal is relatively stable. But Upper Nile is in trouble until now. They did not go there. If you take Equatoria, they did not go there because Equatoria is also experiencing insecurity and war. So
yeah, the network one more time did the same thing. So hopefully we sustain it.
The people and so the
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So this is one point we have to underscore. Not all the people of South Sudan that were consulted. It was only a limited number of people. But that limited number of people of South Sudan that were asked have actually spoken the truth. Because they said that the problem is
yeah, I apologize.
Maybe I can step in here.
Yeah, go ahead and step in, and I will give him a chance again. Yeah, go ahead, Ustad Wal.
Yeah. I would stop to where Ustaz Dengdit has. Start where Dengdit stopped, and he mentioned something very, very crucial. The majority of South Sudanese live in the rural community, and this means that the South Sudanese in the urban centers are not only the only people of South Sudan that should be consulted. For say that is enough, and we have the will of the people. That is not correct. They ought to have been consulted. And also, as I mentioned earlier, that the national dialogue need to be directed in a way that negotiates substantial issues, such as the issues of governance, as Uncle Baida has actually brought it out clearly, that the issue of the South Sudan is the governance issue. I would therefore think of national dialogue as important, but I'm a little bit leery about its implementation of its policies or resolutions, or so to speak, principles and the spirit of it, because of the interest that has been undertaking or involving the issues of national dialogues. That's true. Let me a little bit shift to peace agreement in comparison with the national dialogue, and see how both are going and how both are affected. National dialogue has stalled at a certain stage. Now, all of a sudden, it just woke up. It just appeared as something of urgent that need national attention. Why? Whereas the peace agreement is at this critical stage, whereby it has stalled. The security arrangement has not been implemented as agreed. Power sharing has not come to its complete stage. Like, for example, the issue of Upper Nile. I heard recently President Kiir has reacted to draft undertaking to write undertaking that should anything happen in Upper Nile, or should Orange do something, he would be responsible directly. And this is an impossible thing to ask, because the environment in the Upper Nile is already volatile, as it is in Juba. Anything can happen, and you want to use it to violate the peace agreement because you'll hold accountable when something like that happened. If that happened, then if an incident happened there, you against Riek, then you are violating peace agreement. And that, for me, I see it an excuse of violating. So why we or President Salva get more serious in implementing the peace agreement, the provisions and protocols of the peace agreement, implement them or as a sign that you are committed to even implement the resolution of the national dialogue. And these are the good signs, because words themselves are not enough. They sometimes require action, or most of the time require action to be taken. Back to the national dialogue in regards to implementations. National dialogue has and will not be implemented because the letter that, the resolution or the views of the people are similar to the views that South Sudanese expressed when the SPLM went with the document to consult their opinions. And guess what came? It was war. I said earlier in some of the forum that I was one of the people the SPLM have sent to our areas. I went to Warabi State to share the document of the SPLM and get the opinion of the people. And that was a grassroots. The people of Warabi did tell us, we've lost the direction. You've been hijacked. You're so much engrossed in corruption. You don't know what you're doing in the center. When those documents were brought, stating the same thing, the easiest was to turn around and look for someone to blame for that. And that J1 has always been good about it. And the nearest person to blame was the Secretary General Paganamo. The next person in the line was the Riek, who literally took advantage of it and came out and said the SPLM has that direction as his own, not as the people's recommendation or people's suggestions. The same thing now, it has come from the grassroots, as I said, though it's not fully grassroots because only the urban centers where the SPLM is or the government is have been consulted, and not the grassroots as per se. But they've mentioned things very crucial, that we need the change of God. We need you people to stop corrupting the country and pointing out that you fail here and there. That now, I'm afraid, maybe Uncle Baida will be accused of doctoring it in order to overthrow the government. I heard Uncle Bona Malwal has also been accused by the president and is angry at him. But the truth of the matter is, we need to accept what's gone wrong in order for us to correct.
Yes.
The people of South Sudan need to depend not on the oil, but on the agriculture. And they need the government to come in with a clear policy and incentives supporting the agriculture and export in order to create jobs and create incomes to the citizens, so that they don't depend on the government employment or run after NGOs for employment, but be self-employed. The people of South Sudan need to be helped to improve on informal industrial system, like, for example, the Kenyan call it Juakali. You help them to become self-employed, and then you tax them afterward. Help them create jobs. And I know even in the universities, the students are now struggling with the fee, but there's a better way of going about it. Don't just asking them, pay it now. If we stop corruption, we have enough money to pay the loans. To give them loans, student loans, which they can pay back when they get their jobs. And let them have peace of mind as they study. We have so many things that we need to put into actual activities as a country. But the governance, those in the government, hold power, are so much engrossed into saying who is against them, rather, what can we do to make the country better? And if we focus on what we can do as make the country better, the ideas will start flowing in. But we'll choose the negative side as who is against us. Definitely, our minds will be engaged on that line, and the war will start as we have, or the suffering will result.
Thank you.
So, again, I would want us to appeal to South Sudanese National dialogue is good, but we also need to start a conversation with the leadership. What do you need? And this is what you want. You want you to exit. If you need security, we will grant you. But we need to dialogue about it, reach an agreement with it, and sign something about it together. And you exit in other trying to push. But failure to that, the people of South Sudan will rise and they'll push the government outside, they'll push Kiir outside, and all the things they're offering now will not be there. He will not have time to negotiate his safety afterward. He will not have time to negotiate his peace of mind when he's at home.
Mm-hmm.
The best time is now to start it. And you people care about the country. Let's start this conversation and find a way of bringing this nation together again. And don't lie to yourself that the regime, through this dialogue and peace agreements, would be able to bring South Sudanese together. It will not, because they just broke loose out of their hand because of the decision they have taken. The best thing is to admit that it will not happen. Therefore, let's give someone a chance, a new platform, people that we can be able to trust each other and trust ourselves in order for us to move forward. And this begins with you and I taking a step and said, President, we need to dialogue as a nation. The SPLM, Riek Machar, we need to dialogue. Wani and Paganamo, let's dialogue together and we'll come. And here we know your mistakes. But unless we agree to forgive one another, we will not move forward. To some degree, there's things that we're willing to forgive. And there are things that you need to own up.
You know,
and also they will give us their position. Yes, come on.
Well, what you have said, a lot of South Sudanese are very skeptical about this. But this is the core, of the solution. Some people that were saying that, okay, if Kiir asked Riek Machar and others for incentive, what is the incentive of South Sudanese people? Well, the incentive of South Sudanese people is for peace to prevail. It's South Sudanese to have a development, to move forward, to have security. But as long as he's there, now he's creating more insecurity because he is insecure if he exits. That's how he feels right now. That's how they feel, those generals in the SPLM. That's how they feel. So in order for us to get what we need, yes, you're right, we must sit down and we must negotiate and say, you know what? It never happened somewhere before, but it did happen in some countries like in South Africa. But that's a South Sudanese real initiative. Let's sit down. What incentive you need? Oh, I'm worried. I stole money. Okay, we can recover money, but we cannot recover life. No one will come back, right? But if there is a way here to work this thing out so we can save this country and move forward, it's better. There are some people saying that, oh, well, how old is Kiir? He's going to die anyway. Don't worry. Well, we might produce another Salva Kiir, and then we are going to deal with another Salva Kiir. Why do we want another Salva Kiir to be produced and stay in J1? That's going to affect South Sudanese, and suffering will continue. So I want you to finish your point so I can go to South Dengit, because network, I'm worried about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, this thing the South Sudanese need to know. The solution to our problems will never come from outside. It will never come from the United States of America, from the United Kingdom, from Kenya, Uganda, or Sudan, or Egypt. It can only come from us. It can only come from us by looking at our problems and agree with what is our problems. After we define our problems, then what is the solution? We move to it together. We recognize the support and the help we got from our friends during the war, and even to date, they still haven't given up on us. They're still giving aid to our people. They're still taking our people to settle them and feed them in the refugees camp. Thank you for that. But time has come that we need to step up and do things by ourselves. Let's open up the dialogue. But that dialogue failed, as we are seeing it is not full. We take actions. The citizens have right to rise up and march to the street of Juba, march to that parliament, march to that Wazarat, and sit there and say, we are not leaving until you go, until you leave the power. That is possible. Look, Yonkor, at present stage. a soldier is denied his right, and that is basic right, the salaries. He defends the constitution, as they say, defend the territorial integrity of the South Sudan. But at the end of the day, after he has met his bid, his bargain, the government will sit back and say, I don't have money. They take the money and put it into their pockets. A soldier would starve, would suffer with anger, his children will be sick, but if cannot take them to hospital, and will come to beg those who have stolen the money, please give me something. When that thief give him $10 or $50, that soldier will leave so grateful, thanking him for giving him, not knowing or knowing that his money is stolen, but he has no power to get it. Thank a thief for stealing the money from him. The same thing to the police, the same thing to now it is encroaching to security sector. And yet the nation is frightened to the extent that there are some names when you mention them, even in the private conversations on the social media, like in WhatsApp group or in Messenger, you'll see some soft-hearted citizens will start to flee and leave the group because they feel even hearing such names is a crime themselves, and they will be punished for it. This is not the country the martyrs gave their life for. This is not the country the soldiers took up the arm to fight, and students giving up their studies and education and go to war in the bushes of South Sudan to defend the integrity of the people of South Sudan and to liberate them and give them the freedom. It's no longer the case. Therefore, what am I saying? This national dialogue, and this is the depression. People being deprived of what they deserve as citizens. The question is, since Salva Kiir is and will not listen to, the best option for us, it will be to rise together as South Sudanese, whether you are ordinary pawn soldiers in the police or in the army, SPLA, or even in the national security, and claim that right. Let me just say this in conclusion to bring this to understanding of my brothers and sisters in the national security and in the army. At the early stage, the soldiers were commanded to deprive the citizens the freedom of expressions, right to associations, right to assemble. After the South Sudanese have been cowered into that corner that they cannot express themselves very well, the thing has turned to the soldiers. The salary is being taken away from them. They've been taken to war. When they come back, they do not have. When they die, soldiers are gathered together and put in a mass grave and buried, and not even bother to transport them to their relatives, or even give it to the relatives and say, yeah, your one, just go and bury it. They've been treated the same way and will continue and continue. And here is time, my fellow countrymen and women. Let's unite and stand together and call this regime to account. Yes. If Salva Kiir is not listening to us with this group, I know for sure we will take it if we unite. We will take and bring a change that will implement the real national dialogue, that will implement the real peace within and among us. And it can only begin with you and I coming together as South Sudanese. But first, you give an offer before you, even when the fight begins. Like, for example, this forum is a peaceful forum. We are going for peaceful oppositions, calling for uprising. It is the first step of everything. War can never be. But when you are starting something, you must put something on the table to offer. We're telling Salva Kiir, you dialogue with the people of South Sudan and your government. But if that's not available, the last resort is for the people of South Sudan to fill the streets of Juba, of Malakal, Wau, Awil, Bor, Torit, Yambio, and every part of the country. And there will be no opportunity for him to listen or to negotiate his exit, because the people shall take power would take power from him, because it is theirs. It has never been Salva Kiir's power. It has never been SPLM power. It has been people power that has been delegated to it. And this is the concept. It has the people allow the regime to have some leverage of power in order to protect everybody's rights. But when it is failing to do that, the next step is the people to take what is theirs. And what is theirs is their power, and they'll give it to the person they want. In conclusion, peace agreement will not be implemented. We see it is not getting implementation as it was. The national dialogue recommendations were ignored at the initial stage, and now it has come back again because there is pressure going around on President on J1, just to deviate the attention, to buy time and kill it off again later on. But my fellow countrymen, let not sleep. Let's get ready, prepared, coming together, and we can get people power back to us. And our nation will thrive and will go to its destinations. And that is the great country on the soil of Africa, on the continent of Africa. And that's why we have the star, rising star on our flag. That South Sudan is going to be a star in Africa. We have a land that can feed the entire Africa. We have the resources that can be utilized to develop the nation and create social welfare state whereby we can support our our unable individuals who doesn't have resources to fend for he or herself. The state can protect such people until such a time when they are able to find a job to work for. We have that country. We have those resources. But what we do not have is the leadership that would utilize this. What we don't have is the leadership that come up with creativity to create jobs, to create atmosphere where prosperity become a norm of every other person's day life. I will stop there, my brothers and sisters, and I thank you for the time for listening to us.
Thank you, Wal. It's always amazing to have you on the program. Now I will tune in to Sas Dengida Yok to continue. Of course, South Sudanese, we cannot be hostage to that extent. We have option on the table that we want to offer. And if the first one, if he doesn't want to, and then, well, we might go for total change, which is with uprising. But now South Sudanese are saying, okay, in 2017, he asked, he said, what is my incentive? Does anyone around him asking him that question, Mr. President? What incentive you were asking about? You said, what is my incentive? What do you want? Okay, this is the question supposed to be coming from the national dialogue themselves too. What was the incentive of President Kiir? What does he need exactly to exit and allow people of South Sudan to flourish and move and forward? See, this is very, very important, very, very important for us, to understand. If we don't understand, and then Salva Kiir will continue doing what he is doing, go and bribe people so they can to remove the hybrid court. You remember very well when he bribed that American, lobbyist with $2.3 million just to go and advocate to remove the hybrid court from peace agreement deal. So there is something here, we need to understand. Ustad Dengit, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. I stopped at a point where I was saying that the national dialogue is not a real dialogue because the method that they have adopted is called up, down. Let me repeat it here. The method they adopted to use for the national dialogue is a method in which they call top-down, bottom-up method. So if you look into this, there was no dialogue between the leaders. I quoted the example of Buana Malwan plus some leaders within a BA region, but that was not a real dialogue. The leaders of the SPLM themselves did not dialogue with themselves. Where is Pagan Amun? Did Salva Kiir sit down and have dialogue with Pagan Amun? Did Salva Kiir sit down and have dialogue with Peter Adwok Nyaba? Did Salva Kiir sit down and have dialogue with General Paul Malongawan? Did he sit down and have dialogue with General Wiyai Dengaja? Did he sit down with Thomas Cirillo and have dialogue with him? This is at the level of the leaders. I'm talking at the level of the leaders.
Yeah.
So at the level of the leadership, there was no dialogue that was conducted between the leaders. So this one cannot be called dialogue. It is something else. I will say it later. Concerning the people of South Sudan, I said that it is not all the people of South Sudan that were consulted as to what is the problem in the country, so that they can air out their opinion and say the solution. It was only a limited number of the people of South Sudan. And therefore, that limited number that was asked cannot be considered to be the entire nation. Because you said something very important a few minutes ago. You said that they were supposed to even go to diaspora and consult those who are in diaspora. They should have gone to America. They should have gone to Australia. They should have gone to UK. They should have gone to Canada, to wherever the South Sudanese are. Because in the referendum, you remember, we voted wherever we were.
Yep.
So because that referendum was a national matter.
Mm-hmm.
So today they are talking about something called national dialogue as a national matter. Then they should have consulted all South Sudanese within South Sudan and abroad, so that the process become national. You cannot go and sit under a tree in some villages with some citizens and chiefs, and then you call it a national dialogue, while you left out the entire region of Upper Nile, you left out the entire region of Equatoria, because those regions are suffering from the insecurity and militarism that you created in the country. And then you come and call this national dialogue. So there was no dialogue, Mr. Jonkor. This is what I'm saying. There was no dialogue between the leaders, and I have just mentioned the examples. There was no dialogue, or that there was no consultation made among all the people of South Sudan, wherever they are around the globe, in the country and around the globe. So the process cannot be called national dialogue for these reasons. Yes, the small number of South Sudanese that have spoken, they have spoken, and what they said is actually the real problem. I have the recommendations here. These are the recommendation of the first dialogue, because the dialogue is divided into phase 1, into phase 1 and phase 2. So these are the recommendation of phase 1 dialogue. Republic of South Sudan, National Dialogue Steering Committee, regional conferences, technical notes, emerging issues from grassroots consultations prepared by the Secretariat of National Dialogue Steering Committee, August 2018, Juba, Republic of South Sudan. So these recommendations were written in August. The dialogue started in January 2017, and then in August 2018, they came out with this document, with these recommendations. Inside here, I have 28 recommendations. There is no time to read them, but I can read some of them quickly. Number 1, it says, lack of respect for the rule of law and the Constitution. Lack of respect for the rule of law and the Constitution. This is what we'll talk about a little while ago. It is here in the recommendations. And then they said weak institutions of governance and lack of accountability and transparency. We talk about weak institutions when we were talking about what does the continuation of President Kiir means in power. It is here. Power struggle. That is number 3. Lose of vision and unclear priorities. They are talking about the leadership of having lose what? Of having lost the visions and unclear what? Priorities. What are their priorities for the nation? And this is not the first time for the people of South Sudan to say this. In 2012, the SPLM sent out delegates to all the states to ask the people of South Sudan about the political performance of the SPLM as a party and as a government. When the delegates came back, it was clear that the SPLM have lost vision and direction. The same thing is repeated here, right? So the people that were asked were able to say very, very good thing. Here, there are issues related to governance. The issue of governance, they say the need for a federal system of government. You see, there are issues of what? Governance here. So the people ask for federal system of government. And then they said SPLM is being hijacked by strangers. This is in number 8. And there is something you talked about a little while ago. They said lack of political will to follow through with treaties and the country had signed. There is lack of political will from the political leadership to follow through with all the treaties. They are talking here about the agreements. The agreement the country had signed. They are not following this. And then they talk about diplomacy. They said in number 11, weak diplomacy and lack of a well-defined foreign policy. Our country is suffering from weak diplomacy, and there is lack of a well-defined foreign policy. Now, number 27, they said President Riek Machar to step aside voluntarily. 28, and voices of activists and media should be free and heard. You see, the people of South Sudan have spoken. The small number that was consulted, and that's saying the President Riek Machar to step aside voluntarily, right? And that the voices of political activists and media personnel should be free, should be heard. And remember, we have been talking about the killing of Isaiah Abraham, right? So these are what? The emerging issues from the grassroots, and they are here in the recommendation. This is phase 1. Now, phase 2, let me say this. Phase 1 of the national dialogue started in January 2017 and it ended in August 2018. Now, phase 2 started on the 3rd of November this month and it ended on the 17th of this month. It continued for 3 weeks. And the recommendation of phase 2 dialogue, I have not yet received them, but I'm waiting for them because I will receive them very soon. The recommendation on the 17th. I listened to a video. They were read out in a video, but I want them in a document so that I can keep that document, because a document is something that you can go back to any time. So now the question is, were the recommendation of the first phase of the national dialogue implemented? This is the question we have to ask now, so that we can understand whether this is really a national dialogue or not. The answer is no. The recommendation of the first phase of the national dialogue were not implemented. Because now, did they accept the federal system? It is not accepted. Did they improve in security situation in the country? It is not. Did the president and his deputy step aside voluntarily? No, they are still there. So this is a clear indication that the recommendation of the first dialogue that started in January 2017 and ended in August 2018 were not implemented. Now, if they were not implemented, what is the guarantee that the recommendation that were made on the 17th, because all the delegates came from different parts of South Sudan and they converged in Freedom Hall in Juba, and they deliberated for 3 weeks, and finally they came out with recommendations. Now, if the first recommendation were not implemented, the question is, what is the guarantee that the recent recommendation would be implemented? There is no guarantee. So is this national dialogue? The answer is no, it is not a national dialogue. What is it then? It is a political trickery. It is a political tool used by the government of the Republic of South Sudan to blindfold the people of South Sudan. Because the country had been dragged to the conflict by the president himself. And then the country was suffering and bleeding. The whole world was seeing the bodies of South Sudan laying in the street of Bor, in the street of Malakal. And the world was shocked, and the world was looking at us with disgust. And the government was there sitting, doing nothing. So for the government wanted to tell the world that we are capable of solving the problem. And so they came up with what? With something called national dialogue.
Yes.
All right? So that the world can see them as if they are serious in finding a lasting solution to the problem that they had caused. But it came out to be a political tool for buying time, as Brother Wall has said, and I'm repeating it again. National dialogue is a political tool that the government is using for buying time. This is number one. Number two, it is a political tool that the government is using to destroy the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. Because we are talking about two things in this topic. We are talking about the two parallel paradoxes, the national dialogue and the revitalized agreement on the resolution of conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. And we ask a question, will President Kiir implement the recommendation this time? The answer is no. He did not implement the first recommendations, and therefore he would not implement the second recommendations of the second phase of the national dialogue. So you see how the government of South Sudan is playing with the mind of the people of South Sudan. You see how the government of South Sudan is even playing with those elders that were elected to be members of the steering committee. It is a waste of time. It is a waste of efforts and waste of resources. This government will never bring a lasting solution to the problem that South Sudan is suffering from, the very problem that they themselves created. They are happy that there is problem in the country. Why? Because this problem allows them to continue in power.
Yep.
Because if there is security, if there is stability, they will not be in power. This is what President Kiir is doing with his government officials. So, this dialogue is not the real dialogue. The people of South Sudan must understand this tonight. The dialogue is not the real dialogue. It is a tool for killing the revitalized peace agreement that the government signed in Khartoum with Riek Machar or the SPLM-IO. So they are using national dialogue to kill that agreement, and the agreement is already dead. We said this several times. So the government has succeeded in killing what? The peace agreement that was signed in Khartoum. Through what? Through national dialogue. And if you go back to the history, when the SPLM-IO came up with 21 states, the government also came up with 28 states. Later on, they were increased to 32 states. What was it? It was a political mechanism to destroy the 21 states of the SPLM-SPLA-IO.
Yeah.
When the agreement was signed, or when the agreement was about to be signed, after the second war, of the J1, the president, because that time Riek Machar was calling for what he called the resuscitation of the agreement. And then he was backed up by the region. So the president looked as if he's not a man who actually cared for finding a lasting solution for the problem that is in the country. So with his inner circle, they made consultation and they came up with something called national dialogue as a tool which will be used against the resuscitation of the agreement. When Omar al-Bashir insisted and forced them to sign the agreement through his security apparatus in Khartoum in September 2018, then they came up with the national dialogue as a tool against that resuscitated agreement. Now the government has succeeded in destroying the agreement because the agreement now is not being implemented. As you all know that the formation of the government of national unity delayed. When the president accepted the formation of the government, he appointed Riek Machar as his vice, and the rest of 4 vice presidents. And then people waited for the national ministers. It took another time. And then when the national ministers were announced, it took another time also to appoint governors. And one governor is not appointed until now.
Upper Nile.
Yes, and the state government are not formed until now. Do you call this implementation of the peace agreement? This is not an implementation. So the government will not implement the agreement. Riek Machar is now in Juba like a prisoner. He cannot go anywhere in the region or in the world. He's just there in Juba. Lamakol was intelligent enough and he quitted. He ran away. He's now in Khartoum and he doesn't want to come back. The other members or the other signatories to the agreement are not satisfied with the process of the implementation of the agreement. So the government has succeeded in killing the implementations of the agreement. They maintain the rebels in the government, they absorb them in the government, and they give them the positions. But being given a position is not peace. Well, if it is not peace, then it is peace for them as individuals, but it is not peace for the country. And we said earlier that this agreement, which was signed in Khartoum, is not an agreement that brings peace to the people of South Sudan. It is an agreement that serves the interests of elites. It is an agreement that serves the interests of the politicians, not the general interests of the common man of the Republic of South Sudan. So the government has succeeded. Now, what else is the government killing? The government is destroying the national dialogue through national dialogue. This is what is happening now. The national dialogue that is supposed to happen, the true dialogue that is supposed to happen in South Sudan, the government is using this fake dialogue, national dialogue, to kill the real national dialogue. So they are killing national dialogue by national dialogue. You remember Dr. John Garang, when he was speaking about the right of self-determination, he said you can only kill the right of self-determination by the right of self-determination. So this is the tactics which the government of Juba is doing. They are killing the real national dialogue by this fake national dialogue. So this is an answer to the question that will the president implement the recommendation this time? He failed to implement the recommendation that I have here in this book or in this document. There is no guarantee that he will implement the recommendation that were read out in a video that was shared on social media on the national TV. There is no guarantee. President Kiir is buying time. He wants to spend 5 more years in power. And then blindfolding the people of South Sudan, saying that I am here to implement national dialogue and to bring peace for you, to bring a lasting peace for you, but he is not. So this current national dialogue is a fake national dialogue. It is a false national dialogue. It is a pseudo national dialogue. And there is no dialogue actually, because President Kiir himself did not sit down with Wiaideng Aja, with Pagana Moon, with Adwak Nyaba, with Riek Machar, that is with him in the government. He did not sit down with them to have dialogue so that they can reach consensus on the issues that they differ in. There is no consensus, so they should not deceive us.
I know Riek Machar is not part of it.
We cannot be deceived.
It's not part of it.
Yes, Riek Machar is not part of this. He cannot be part of this because it is a tool for destroying him and the agreement that he signed. That's why he's not part of this. So this is the answer. This is the brief answer that I can say. The government said that the agreement, I mean the national dialogue, the objective of the national dialogue is fixing South Sudan, bringing peace to South Sudan. But in the end, this is what we see.
But how?
So I want to tell the people of South Sudan, yes?
Yeah, my question was, how are you going to bring peace to South Sudan through national dialogue? But at the same time, you sign peace agreement. Why don't you implement peace agreement? Because if you implement peace agreement, actually you are stabilizing the country. You are bringing the security. You know, that's a good question to our viewers to understand this, because we have been saying Salva Kiir is buying time, is just buying time, 3 years here, 3 years here, 3 years there, so he can keep moving. You can see on the face of the man, he's not interested in any progress in the country. He's not interested lifting the orphan, the widow, and he is not interested. We can see that in his eyes, and we can see from the way he's behaving.
Yes, in his actions.
You know,
and it is said that actions speak louder than words. So, look, you have brought in a very good point. I read the speech he delivered on the last day of the national dialogue, yes, on the 17th. You know, the speech he read out was not the real speech. It is a speech for justifying himself, because in that speech he talked about some element accusing him.
Yeah.
So he was like defending himself. So, and he was even angry. He was angry, he was not happy. So the speech he delivered was a speech in which he was justifying himself. It was a speech in which he was justifying his government or the members of his government. It was a speech in which he was justifying the fake national dialogue. So the man is going on deceiving the people of South Sudan. He's trying to deceive the people of South Sudan. But we cannot be deceived. Bob Marley said it clearly, that you can fool people sometimes, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Yes, it is very clear. So there is no something called national dialogue. What is going on in Juba is a fake national dialogue, and it will never bring the solution for the country. Then what is the solution? What is the solution? The solution, we said that the country is suffering from 4 evils. That the country is suffering from mismanagement.
Yes.
Corruption, lack of basic services, and war. Which is insecurity. Mismanagement, it is the same Salva Kiir and his government that are mismanaging the country. And this national dialogue is a clear evidence of mismanagement. Because you cannot use a fake thing to bring something that is real. He's using something that is fake, that he called the national dialogue, to bring novel objectives, which will never happen. So this is mismanagement. This is deceptions. We said that there is corruption. Until now, none of the government officials, none of his officials in the government have been taken to the court since 2005 until now. We said that there is lack of service, basic services in the country. The people of South Sudan will never see basic services being provided to them as long as President Kiir is the president. War will never stop as long as President Kiir is the president. Whether it is the war within a war for power struggle or war between communities. If it is war for power struggle, it is this same government that is causing it. If it is communal fight between the communities, it is this same government that is causing it, because it is this same government that gives guns. It is this same government that gives firearms to the civilians so that they can go and take revenge, so that they can go and raid the cattle of each other and die in massive numbers. So this government will never bring peace. It will never bring security. So the only solution is that the people of South Sudan must now stand up. They must stand up and unite themselves as one people, as we have always said. They have to forget about their political affiliations, their political differences. It is time for us, all of us, the people of South Sudan, to unite. It is time for us as political activists who are active and who are always vocal to come together, unite ourselves with one aim, The aim is staging popular uprising. Our people have to go out to the street, and they should never go back to their homes until Salva Kiir and all his regime is down. This is possible. It can be done. Many people did it. It was done in Khartoum. It was done in Egypt. It was done in Libya. It was done recently in Nigeria. It was done in Burkina Faso in 2014, October 2014. It can be done in South Sudan, because the people of South Sudan are great people. They deserve a better future. They deserve a good country, a country that is stable, a country that provides services to them. So we are telling our people that enough is enough. We cannot allow someone who is there to buy time. We cannot allow someone who is there to kill us. We cannot allow someone who is there to tarnish the image of our people and to erase the struggles of the great men and women of South Sudan who have died, the great men and women of South Sudan who have sacrificed their life in a long, protracted war in South Sudan for 21 years. Those people should not die in vain, because Salva Kiir is now telling us that those who have died in the war have died in vain, because he is not there to realize the dream for which they died, the cause for which they died. So we have to tell him enough is enough. A new political dispensation in the Republic of South Sudan must see the light. A new South Sudan must be born. This is what we are saying. And this new South Sudan would not be born unless we all unite ourselves and then go to the street, stage popular uprising against this government. Yes, they will kill us. They will shoot live bullets at us. They will kill some of us, but they will never kill all of us. And the world will not just look at us being killed. The world will also come in and say something. So it is enough. Enough is enough. It is the high time for the people of South Sudan to go out now and stage popular uprising. Popular uprising is the only way forward, not national dialogue, not the peace agreement that they signed, because they have proven enough. They have proved enough for us that they are not faithful enough to implement the agreement they signed, and they are not faithful enough to even implement the what they call national dialogue. So the way forward is change. Change now. Change now for a better South Sudan. This is our call, and this is the call for the people of South Sudan, that we have to stand up now and talk about this. فنحن تكلمنا كثير بالانجليزي. لازم برضه نقول حاجه باللغه العربيه شويه، لانه احتمال يكون في ناس بيتابعوا وهم بيفهموا اللغه العربيه افضل من اللغه الانجليزيه. نحن قلنا يا جماعه بصوت واضح جدا بانه الحوار الوطني، لانه نحن بنتكلم عن حاجه اسمه المفارقتان المتوازيتان، الحوار الوطني واتفاقيه فض النزاع في جمهوريه جنوب السودان. هل سينفذ الرئيس كير توصيات هذه المره؟ نحن قلنا لا، الرئيس كير ما هينفذ التوصيات بتاعت الحوار الوطني المره دي. ليه؟ نحن بنقول الكلام ده. احنا قلنا الكلام ده لانه قلنا الحوار الوطني بدا باعلان داخل البرلمان يوم 14 ديسمبر.
تفضل على 2015
واستمر لحد شهر اغسطس 2018 قبل. والتوصيات ده فيه يعني جزء من المواطنين من جنوب السودان يتكلموا بانه ما في احترام بتاع حكم سياده القانون في البلد، وانه ما في دبلوماسيه واضحه وما في اولويات واضحه، وانه ما في خدمات اساسيه في البلد. وختموا بانه الرئيس والنائب بتوع رياض مشار هم سبب المشكله في البلد، وهم لازم يتناهوا عن السلطه طواعيا. دي التوصيات بتاعت المرحله الاولى من الحوار الوطني. احنا طرحنا سؤال انه هل التوصيات بتاعت المرحله الاولى من الحوار الوطني هل تم تنفيذها؟ قلنا لا، ما تم تنفيذها. لانه الرئيس لسه يا رئيس، النائب بتاعه يا لسه النائب بتاعه الوضع الامني لسه ما يتحسن، لسه الناس بيموتوا. وقريب ده الناس قاعدين في جوا مويه، في بور، في لير، في اكوبو، في كل ولايه على النيل الناس قاعدين جوا مويه، حتى في اول هناك.
نعم.
كويس، في كل انحاء البلد ناس قاعدين جوا مويه في في سيول. كويس، والحكومه ما شغاله بالناس دي. يلا شغالين يقول لنا حوار وطني وما حوار وطني. الحوار الوطني في تحليلنا النهائي يا جماعه قلنا الحوار الوطني هم قالوا في الاوراق بانه يبدا بالقياده فوق ويمشي للقائد ينتهي. انا قلت قبل انه القاده انفسهم ما يتحاوروا. سلفا كير ما يتحاور مع باغانا مو، ما يتحاور مع جنرال وياي، ما يتحاور مع زول زي جنرال بول مالون، ما يتحاور مع زول زي بيتر ادوغ نياب، ما يتحاور مع ناس ثانيين. القيادات بتاعت الاس بي ال انفسهم ما يتحاوروا مع انفسهم. ما قلنا ده حوار وطني، مش هم قالوا كده؟ يبقى هم ذاته اللي جو بالحوار الوطني ما عمل اي حوار مع انفسهم، لانه هم ذاته يا سبب المشكله في البلد. فطالما ما قدروا يعمل حوار مع انفسهم، يقدر يعمل حوار بين المواطنين. المواطنين جزء من المواطنين يتكلموا، وما كل الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان، لاننا قلنا قبل انه في ناس برا البلد ما تم استشارتهم، ما سالوا من المشكله شنو. ما ممكن انت تسبب مشكله وانت يا تجي جار للناس تقول للناس المشكله شنو. لو سببت مشكله وجيت جار للناس تقول للناس المشكله شنو، يبقى انت زول غشاش. وده حاجه سلفا كير قاعد يعمل مع الحكومه بتاعه
for very long time.
هم ياو سبب مشكله في البلد، هم ياو جارين للناس يقولوا للناس المشكله شنو. كلام كله كذب. وانا قلت انه الحوار ده ما حوار وطني، لانه ما شامل ما في كل الناس ما سالوا عدد بسيط بس من المواطنين. ما سالوا ناس في اقليم بتاع العلنيين، ما سالوا ناس في اكواتوريا. ليه؟ لانه الاقليمين دول فيهم انعدام بتاع الامن، وبالتالي المناديب او المنظمين للحوار الوطني ما قدروا يوصلوا للمناطق دي كلها. فبالتالي الحوار ده حوار فيك. احنا قلنا قبل انه الحوار ده آلية سياسية جابوه الحكومة عشان يدمر به اتفاقية بتاعت سلام، لأنه الحكومة زمن ده البلد مولع والحكومة قاعدة ساعد ما قادر تحل المشكلة. مفاوضات على أديس أبابا كم مرة عجلوا، وقبل في كلام قالوا يعني إنه الرئيس كان بيقول إنه الحافز بتاعي شنو لو أنا وقعت الاتفاقية. ففي النهاية عشان هو ينظف مويه في وشه قام جاب الحوار الوطني عشان يقدر يقول للعالم انه انا شغال، انا داير نجيب حل المشكله في بلدي. لكن في الواقع بتاع الامر دي آلية سياسية او دي آلة سياسية لتدمير اتفاقية سلام. وانا قلت انه الحكومة نجحت في تدمير اتفاقية سلام، بدليل انه الحكومة اتأخرت. لما جاء الرئيس عين نواب وتاني اتأخر في تعيين الوزراء، عين وزراء اتأخر في تعيين حكام، وحاكم واحد ما في لحد الآن، والحكومات بتاع الولايات ما تم تشكيلها لحد الآن، ناهيك من الترتيبات الأمنية. يبقى ما زال اسمه تنفيذ بتاع اتفاقية سلام. الزعيم بتاع الاي او الآن رياض مشار قاعد في جوبا كزول سجين يعني، وهو ما عنده صوت. بالتالي ما في أي حاجة اسمه تنفيذ بتاع اتفاقية سلام.
نعم.
الاتفاقية ده موتوه بالراحة، موتوه بشنو؟ موتوه بالحاجة اللي اسمه الحوار الوطني ده. لأن الحوار الوطني بقى يعني آلية سياسية لشراء الوقت، والحكومة نجحت في الكلام ده. أنا قبل قلت إنه الحوار الوطني ده بقى ذاته آلية لتدمير الحوار نفسه، والحكومة هسه هتنجح في الكلام ده، بالدليل أنه التوصيات الأولى بتاع المرحلة الأولى من الحوار ما تم تنفيذها. بالتالي ما في أي ضمانة بأنه التوصيات بتاع يوم 17 ده هيتم تنفيذها. يبقى الحكومة شغالة شنو؟ الحكومة شغالة غش في شعب، بغشنا. الحكومة ما جادة في إنه يجيب السلام للبلد. الحكومة ما جادة في إنها يعني تضمن لنا استقرار داخل البلد. الحكومة إذن دايرة تعمل شنو؟ الحكومة مستفيدة من الوضع المتأزم الموجود في البلد. مستفيدة منها كيف؟ مستفيد منها لأنها بيديها الفرصة علشان ما تستمر في سلطة، بديه فرصة الاستمرارية في سلطة، وده الحاجة سلفكير دايره. سلفكير همه كله إنه هو يستمر في الباور، ما عايز يسلم الباور، رغم أنه المواطنين البسيطين سألهم قال يا أخي هو يمشي بيته، هو النائب بتاعه. لما قرأ الكلام ده دخلوا في الدور بتاعه وما يشتغل بيه ليوم الليلة، يبقى ده زول داير يحكم. هو مستفيد من الموت المجاني اللي بيحصل، سواء كان الموت بسبب صراع بتاع السلطة المستميت بيناتهم كسياسيين، ولا بسبب بتاع الصراعات بين المجتمعات عشان النهب بتاع البقر، ولا عشان انه مجتمع ده بيكره مجتمع ده كله ما هيتغير. يبقى الحوار الوطني ده ما آلية لحل بتاع أي مشكلة في جنوب السودان. الحوار الوطني ما برنامج عشان يجيب الاستقرار ويجيب الرفاهية والتنمية في البلد، ده كله غش. الحوار الوطني ده هو أصلا برنامج لتدمير الحوار المفترض يكون حوار حقيقي. يبقى الحل في يدينا نحن الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان، ده الكلام اللي احنا بنقوله. الحل في يدينا انه لازم نتوحد، نخلي خطاب الكره اللي بيناتنا دي، نخلي الكراهيه اللي نحن عايشين فيه ده، نخلي الانقسام اللي نحن فيه ده، لانه الانقسام بتاعنا ده بيعني الضعف بتاعنا، وده بيقوي الحكومه. لازم نتوحد ونطلع برا للشارع. الطلوع برا للشارع واسقاط الحكومه عبر الثوره الشعبيه ده الحل الان. الحل ما موجود في الحوار الوطني، الحل ما موجود في اتفاقيات بتاعت سلام، لانه كم اتفاقيه سلام وقعوها وما نفذوها. يبقى اذا توقيع بتاع اتفاقيات ليس حلا لمشكلات في السودان الجنوبي. الحوار الوطني كآلية سياسية أتت بها الحكومة بهدف إيجاد الحل للمشكلات في جنوب السودان ليست آلية سياسية يعني يمكنها أن تأتي بالاستقرار والأمن في البلد. يبقى الثورة الشعبية ده الحل الوحيد، وعشان ما نصنع ثورة شعبية لابد ان احنا نتوحد. دي رسالة بتاعتنا بنوجهها لكل شعب جنوب السودان. التغيير لابد ان يبدا الان، لابد ان يبدا التغيير من الان. لابد ان تنتظم مسيرات الاحتجاجات في كل مدن، في كل القرى بتاعت البلاد، وندعو كلنا لاسقاط هذه الحكومه، لان الحكومه دي ده حكومه بتاعت ظلام. الحكومه دي ما حكومه بتاعت حقيقه، ده حكومه بتاعت باطل. الحكومه دي ما حكومه بتاعت تنميه، ده حكومه بتاعت دمار. الحكومه دي ما حكومه بتاعت سلام، ده حكومه بتاعت الحرب، ده حكومه بتاعت العسكريه او العسكرتاريه. الحكومه دي ما حكومه بتاعت العداله، ده حكومه بتاعت ظلم. الحكومه دي ما حكومه بتاعت القانون، ده حكومه بتاعت الفوضى. الحكومه الموجوده في جوبا دي ما حكومه ممكن تجيب تنميه للبلد، ده حكومه بيحفظ البلد بلد متخلف. الحكومه دي ما حكومه بتكرم اسر بتاع الشهداء، دي حكومه بيخلي ابناء الشهداء يمشوا حفاة الاقدام في شوارع ويكونوا شاهدين في البلد. ده حكومه ما بيكرم الشهداء بل بيضرب نضالاتهم بعرض الهاي وينساهم وما بيهتم بتاريخهم. الحكومه دي ده حكومه ما مسؤوله، لأن لو كانت مسؤوله كانت بتجيب استقرار وسلام حقيقي للبلد. الرئيس غير مسؤول، لأنه البلد بيموت في يدينه ليل والنهار. البلد ما فيه خدمات، البلد ما فيه سياسة خارجية واضحة، البلد ما فيه سيادة بتاع حكم القانون. ورغم ده كله لسه بيحس بكل فخر إنه هو الرئيس للبلد. ده عدم مسؤولية، ولا بد ان احنا الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان نقول كفى لعدم المسؤوليه. لابد أن نقول لنا كفى للفساد، كفى للظلم، كفى لغياب العدالة والمساواة في جنوب السودان. القيم اللي نحن كلنا حاربنا من أجلها لمدة 21 سنة لابد أن نقول إنه كفى لتجاهل بتاع هذه القيم، لأنه القيم دي بتشكلنا نحن، القيم دي بتشكل الدولة بتاعتنا. فالحكومة الموجودة هي الشعب بتاعنا في كل أركان بتاع جنوب السودان. الحكومة ده حكومة غير مسؤولة. الحل الوحيد إن هذه الحكومة لابد أن تسحب، لابد أن تسحب إلى مزبلة التاريخ. لابد أن يسحب الرئيس كير والرياض مشار وكل يعني كل أشكال الأسفل بمسميات بتاعه، لابد أن يسحبوا إلى مزبلة التاريخ، لأنهم السبب في الدمار والخراب الذي هل بديارنا، لأنهم السبب في كل الانتهاكات بتاع حقوق الإنسان الحصل في بلدنا، هم السبب بتاع التشرد بتاع شعبنا للدول بتاع الجوار، هم السبب لأنه البلد بتاعنا بيجي يشوفوا ده بلد ضعيف، ده الدولة ما بيقدر بيحكم نفسه، هم السبب في كل ده، هم السبب الخلى الخرطوم يقعد يسخر بينا بعد ما نحن انفصلنا وبقينا دولة، ويقول ياها قلنا لكم يوم ده انه ديل ما هيقدروا يحكموا انفسهم، ياها قلنا يوم ده. فالناس ديل يا كل الشباب بتاع جنوب السودان ويا كل الرجال والنساء بتاع جنوب السودان، ان احنا الناس ديل نحن ما نخلوهم يستمروا في الحكم، لابد انهم يمشوا، ولا بد لجنوب السودان ان يشهد عصر جديد، لابد لجنوب السودان ان يشهد ميلاد جمهوريه ثانيه، جمهوريه جديده، جمهوريه فيه العداله والمساواه والازدهار والتنميه، جمهوريه فيه مؤسسات بتاع الدوله قويه، جمهوريه فيها الخير والرخاء والنماء لكل شعب بتاعنا. ده الحل الوحيد. الثوره الشعبيه خيارنا، لا بد من الخروج الآن إلى الشوارع. الثورة الشعبية هو الخيار لتحقيق كل أحلام الشهداء ولكل أحلامنا وأحلام الأجيال القادمة. الثورة الشعبية هو الحل. الثورة الآن لا بد أن نحن نخرج، هذه رسالتنا. وقبل الثورة لا بد أن نتوحد، لأن لا يمكن للشعب منقسم أن تنتصر على حكومة. لا بد أن نتوحد، لأن في الوحدة قوة.
نعم.
فوحدتنا ده اللي هيشيل برا هذه الحكومة. فلحد هنا أنا بجيف شكرا لك أستاذ جون كور، وأشكر كل المتابعين والمشاهدين في هذه الأمسية. النصر لنا نحن الشعب بتاع جنوب السودان، مهما طال زمن لا بد أن هذه الحكومة تمشي. أنا داير أختم بمقولة بتاع دانتي. دانتي ده كتب كتاب اسمه المسرحية الإلهية The Divine Comedy. هو قال إنه أسوأ الأماكن في الجحيم محجوزة للناس اللي بيكونوا ساكتين في زمن بتاع الأزمات الأخلاقية. The hardest places in hell are reserved to those who keep quiet in the time of moral crisis. ده كلام هو قاعد يقوله في الكتاب بتاعه. فنحن يا جماعة في ناس ساكتين في جنوب السودان، نحن كان سكتنا السكوت ده بيكون خيانة. There comes a time when silence is betrayal. ده كلام مهم جدا لابد ان احنا نختم به. الصمت ده في زمن الأزمات الأخلاقية، الصمت ده قاعد يكون خيانة، فلا بد ان احنا ما نصمت، ومش بس نتكلم، نتحرك حتى على أرض الواقع. شكرا.
شكرا أستاذ والكاتب الكبير دينجي دايوك for coming on. Diamond, amazing. It's so phenomenal, Ustad Dengdi, to come in and have this very, very important, perspective, very educative tonight. So I really, really appreciate you. Please stick around. I'm going to give a chance for a few, if some people wanted to add their perspective before I move on from here. But I really, really, really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dengdi Dayok. Yes, you said it all. Being complicit is a part of committing crime, because في ناس هنا أحيانا بيشوفوا الكلام اللي بنعمله ده كلام فارغ, but we don't see any change supporting those uncles. Salva Kiir ما في حيلة تاني انتم ما شفتوا منه, ما في حيلة. يا عندك قبل my sister wrote here, You know, this guy is always, you know, angry and انت بتشوف وشه عامل فيه يعني صارم وما أدراك ما ذلك, just to show people that he's tough and he doesn't want to smile, he doesn't want to do this because he has nothing to offer. He just wanted to remain there in power. He has committed atrocity in the country and loot, you know, and that's why he wanted to continue. He wanted to be there. He wanted to protect himself, and the only way to protect himself is through the power. It's through power. Okay, that's why the issue people are questioning, you know, incentive. What that incentive? What does he need? And we are entitled to know what does he need. If that thing is gonna let him get out of our life and our children's life, we can find a way, you know. So Wujud Salva Kiir is not going to change anything. That means backwardness. بلدنا يرجع ورا ويرجع ورا ويكون في broken social fabric وناس ينقسم زياده. انتم شايفين هذا في ناس بينادوا بالانفصال وما شابه ذلك. انقسامات زياده. البلد ده احنا ناس ما حاربت وما صوتت عشان احنا ننقسم وعشان احنا يكون في مشاكل وعشان يكون في دنوير وددنك وشنو. ودل هم ذات ماستر مايندد بتاع all these issues. Salva Kiir. انتم مذكرين قبل الريفرندوم in 2010 زمان كان ناس بولينا متب they were out, لكن هو عمل شنو؟ نفس الاستراتيجيه اللي هو كان عمله ده, وكنت قال نو كلكم جنوبيين تعالوا نحن هسه عندنا تاس, we have a big task انه ريفرندوم. انا ما عايزين ريفرندوم يخرب, ما عايزين حق تقرير بصير يخرب. انت كان بولينا ولا كان ياتومين ولا كان تعالوا كلنا. He accommodated everybody. People came together. Don't you think he can do that? He can do that. But instead, بعد ما نحن انفصلنا we begin a country, you know, he start pissing everybody off. And he said, F you and F you. I did this to get you in. But you know what? على قول الفنان, بنفس القدر وبنفس المسؤولية وبنفس القلوب اللي كان مع بعض from east, west, north, south, كلنا جنوبيين مشينا بالفام, you know, Ethiopia, and we fought the common enemy. بنفس القدر development, it would have been easier. بنفس القلوب اللي حملت سلاح, okay, مشوا كدحوا, you know, it would be easier. It would be easier to have that development. But simply because they were not interested, you know, they just wanted to better themselves, enrich themselves. Okay? You don't have to be genius, but that's what it is. My problem is to those who are complicit, to those who say, oh yeah, give him a chance. Give him a chance. I understand, my brother, you know, Mashiu, when you said, you know, the opposition are not united. We know the opposition are not united, and they will not unite because another the opposition, majority of them, they are just looking for opportunities. They're just looking at opportunities. Ibaguni naib, ibaguni wazir, ibaguni safir. That into shuftua. Hatta nazi yomda kan bishatimune bugula wala jonko just want to get attention. They just want to get attention. He betrayed Dinka. He betrayed this. He betrayed that. Did I went to Juba? Did I go to Juba? أنا مشيت جوبا. شفتوني أنا مشيت جوبا. حتى الناس اللي كنا بنستضيفهم اللي أنا كان بستضيف في ممبر ده الآن تلقى منهم نواب لرئيس الجمهورية. أنت شفتوني أنا مشيت معهم. Why? Because I have that moral obligation. I have moral courage. I believe in decency. We know what we're looking for. What we're looking for is not a position. No, my position. إنه أهلنا, our relative, the citizen, South Sudan to be stable and secure. Okay? That's what we want. That's what we want. احنا كنا بنستضيف ناس هنا في المنبر ده الآن نواب في جوبا. وزراء في جوبا. See? But I'm glad some people, they start realizing that, oh, they were right. Another guy كلام ده عاملين noise في social media, they are right actually. They are not just talking because they want to get attention, to be appointed. No, that's not where we are interested. في شغلانيات في المكان اللي موجودين فيه ده ولو دايرين نشتغل في البلد اللي الموجودين فيه ده في حكومة بنشتغل and we can make tons of money. But not that's what we want. أنا عارفين where we came from. Okay? وجابنا البلد ده شنو? We know. So I am glad though, because I've seen a lot of message private. Another can be criticized, they talk bad, they say, oh, you betrayal, you did this, you sell people, you do this, you did that. They start realizing that I am fighting for his right, for her right, for my brother right. for askeri lina kullana. Now the sharp. Forget about, you know, those opposition leaders. No, you and me and others. We, the voice of the people who are silent, who cannot speak because Loit Kalam, I would do blow house. A non-gunman is going to shoot at him in the country. But we can talk, we can educate. We can educate. We can do. Into Arfin, ما في حاجة بتدوسي يا جماعة. Into Arfin Salva Kiir min day one, min 2005 all the way now to 2020. في شنو تاني؟ يا تشارع اللي هو كان لو كان داري عمله ما كان عمله. يا تو مستشفى اللي هو لو كان داري يبني بقروش بتاعنا اويل ما كان بناه. يا تو مدرسة لو كان داري يبني ويجيب اساتذة من كينيا ومن وين الساوث سودانيز you know leaders are obsessed with ما كان بيعمل ما كان بيعمل. لكن ما في إرادة. He doesn't want to. It's all about him. It's all about him and those around him and security apparatus. That's what it is. Give the security money to protect my power. عشان لو في ناس يتكلم ودهم سجن اقتلوهم عشان I would be there with this black hat as a king. But that's what the country we fought for. So we know for sure it's not going to implement anything. National dialogue will not implement it. تسميدوا أستاذ دينجديت شرح. Okay, recommendation الأولى they did not. شالوا خطوة في الدرج لأن كان simply بيقول شنو رئيس الفكير ياك مشار step down يا جماعة خلونا خلي زول اللي عنده brain خلي الناس اللي عندهم love to this country الناس اللي بيحبوا البلد ده الناس اللي بيحبوا بنات جنوب السودان الصغار you know 7 years old 8 years old ماشيين مدارس يتعلموا ويكون عندهم مستقبل. اولاد صغار يتعلموا يكون عندهم مستقبل يكون في مويه نظيفه يكون في مستشفى يكون في مدارس يكون في حاجات ديل. خلي زول عندهم غيره عندهم غيره انه يكون في التنميه. Somebody that have that you know ماشي شاف في جرماني وشاف في امريكا شاف حاجات كويس انا داير حاجات دي يكون في البلد بتاعي. These are the reasons that I have been fighting for 38 years for 22 years. خلي واحد عنده غيره ده في قلبه انه يعمل ده. لكن لا, as long they are alive they won't allow that to happen. They will not allow that to happen. But you, بصوتك وبقوتك وبpressure بتاعك, it will happen. لكن انت لو got to help back, no, I cannot do anything because we don't have power. Those Jeje Shabi, our brothers, our uncles. Yeah? You and me, if we talk, we push, yeah. Don't listen to those who say they are making noise. You are not going to do anything. Don't listen to those who underestimate إمكانيات الموجودة إمكانيات الفكرية الموجودة عندهم. أنت عندك إمكانيات فكرية لكن أحيانا you just decide not. Say no, I cannot do anything. You are selfish. You are complicit. ما تبقى زي they are vultures. You know vultures اللي بينتظر لحد ما شنو حيوان أساسا عنده منقار سنين جدا جدا. It can kill that rabbit or animals, you know, عشان شنو عشان ينقذ نفسه. لكن لا, is always waiting بقعد كده you know في راس شجرة عشان حيوان ده يموت بعد كده يجي يخش, you know, even is not even going to hit the best part of the you know the animal. It's going to hit from the bottom. The bottom always is soft, you know. It's always waiting for things easier. Don't be like that. Ita Junub Sudani, you are smart, you are strong, you have more to do. You do actually. Lakin Dale crooks Dale خلوك بقيت زي voucher. خلوك بقيت انت زول مسكين زول ما بتعرف اي حاجه. لكن you are stronger. لكن you know what, you can reassure yourself. And if you don't love yourself, nobody's going to love you. And if you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you. No one is going to believe in you. مش تجي تقول والله I don't look beautiful. I don't look good. You look good actually. But you are the one that dragging yourself to the ground. انت اللي بتقول no I am not. انا لو عملت كده الناس هيقولوا كده وهيقولوا كده. Why do you have to, you know, hell to them? Do the right thing. Then when you do the right thing, they will come and they will follow you. They will listen to you. So my dear brothers, let me go ahead and bring Moses Makir. Welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. I want to give you an opportunity too before we call a day, because actually I want to give a few chances to people here they can weigh in. Go ahead, Moses. Welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan.
Osas Jonkor Mayol, I salute you and I salute Wall Deng Attack, and I salute Dengdit Ayok And I salute all our viewers and the members of the United Citizen for Change. Jonkor, we are really proud of what you are doing. I would just like to add few things. Dengdit have exhausted the national dialogues and the intention of the government, and my brother Woldeng attack. I would like to say to our people, the popular political uprising is the best solution to liberate the people of South Sudan from SPLM. Yes, the SPLM claim they have liberated us, as President Kiir was defending himself in his speech of 17 November 2020 in the national dialogue. That is not a speech of a national dialogue. It is either a speech of a war or a speech of defending yourself in a court. And I felt sorry for Uncle Abelalier, who was dancing, and Bonamalwal. And they are really surprised how Kiir thinks. Kiir has no plan to develop South Sudan, has no plan to bring the people of South Sudan together. Because the moment he brings people together, people will think of census, people will think of election. But I believe, and we in the United Citizen for Change, it doesn't matter whether you do 10 national dialogue, whether you do one national dialogue every year. Kiir will not implement anything. He will just use money, as Morwell Atera said last week, that the tools that Kiir is using to stay in power, what is making Kiir to be arrogant, what is making him to be a dictator, is money.
Somebody here is asking, Manut, we don't call people actually. You click on the link and then the link bring you here. So that's what it is. And we post the link below the live streams. That's what you can do. You click on the link and the link should bring you here if you wanted to participate. It's not like the old-fashioned Facebook. It's no longer there. This is how you do it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So people, we need to join hands, unite as the people of South Sudan, regardless of your political parties. Whether you are, I'm extending an invitation to our brothers from all opposition to join the United Concerned Citizen for Change. Whether you are from Red Movement, we welcome you to be part of this discussion. We would like to see the members of the Red Movement to join us for the popular uprising political movement. That is the key savior that will save the people of South Sudan, that will liberate the people of South Sudan from the government of SPLM or from the cancer called the SPLM party of President Salva Kiir. The SPLM party that cannot do a national dialogue with itself, a dialogue within the party, cannot lie to the people of South Sudan today that they will be able to bring dialogue among South Sudanese. They are the cause, the root cause of the problem. They are the poison that has poisoned our society. They have created the mistrust and hatred among our people, and they are using the oil money to fuel hatred and mistrust among the citizens of South Sudan. Every day they continue to be in the government, the gap of mistrust is widening among our citizens. So it is better for us to stop. Every day they continue in the government in Juba, the hatred, the extent of hatred among tribes is increasing. So the best way to rescue the country is not through a peace agreement with the government of Kiir. They will give you that position. You will go there like Uncle Dr. Riek Machar with your wife. They will give your wife a position. They will give next time. We know they may give Thomas Cirillo a position, and the wife of Thomas Cirillo will be given a position too. And the same thing with the Uncle Malone will be given a position, and his many wives also will be given position if they want. So, and this is the peace that Kiir has in his mind. As long as you are not touching the seat of the presidency, You are not stopping the tap of the oil money from going to his bank account. You will be welcome in Juba. Whatever national dialogue you want to bring, as long you are not telling President Kiir to step down, that you have failed for 15 years, step down, they will take that recommendation and put it in the drawer.
Yes.
The best solution is every South Sudanese that is sick and tired of SPLM deception, SPLM lies, is to us to go to the street. Kiir is not as strong than Hosni Mubarak. Kiir is not as strong than Saddam Hussein. Is not as strong than all other dictators. Kiir is a weak leader, and as Uncle Morwell say, Kiir Arioj.
Yep. Correct.
Kiir Arioj.
Right.
Arioj kwe banyo po ache keji en Kiir. Na ye keji ngure chikang chokpen. So we don't need leader Arioj Kiir. We don't need that kind of a leader. We don't need a leader that is a thief, that steal public money. He has never mentioned anything about the fighting in Dubai.
No.
Because he's supporting it.
They don't want to talk about it.
Instead of him coming up and condemning what has happened in Dubai, he's keeping quiet. Instead of him calling for the real national dialogue within the SPLM to invite all the SPLM A to Z, including Malonga One, and including Pagan and Lam, and all SPLM to have real reconciliation, so people can see he doesn't want that.
He's angry.
He's happy.
You know, Moses, he's even angry. You see, when he came to give his speech, he's not happy. Even there is a few stuff, you know, on the recommendation. He feels shocked, you know, for this individual to put those recommendations. So he was shocked. He was coming with anger. He said, Gal, we are fair enough. Even to those people who did not, we have been criticized always that actually we hijack and we are not allowing people to participate in the government. We are fair enough to those even did not participate. I don't know what Salva Kiir meant here, those who did not participate. Who did not participate in war in South Sudan? Can Belgalam, wala be shouting, wala be riding, wala be voting, wala be gun. Who did not participate? That tell you the man. He's the masterminded, divide people who go, oh, those actually, they went outside, they did this, we the one that fought for this country. That tell you the man, because when he said that word, you know, even to those who did not participate, what is he talking about? Who did not participate? Every South Sudanese, Alma Maulud, Al Gaid for Batun Umu, participated. Because his mother carry a water, carry a pot, okay? Shall chicken bitaw adaw. Al kan jana dagal fi batun da, you know? What are you talking about? He's out of his mind. This is the guy.
This president is useless president. Is weak, and all he knows is to loot public money and to kill people who talk
and lie
and to divide people and to lie to people that he is the only liberator who liberates South Sudan. That is a lie. He talk against people in diaspora. When his own kids were in Adelaide here in Australia, is Adelaide, Australia, not diaspora? President Kiir, you are a liar. You bought houses here in Adelaide, so many of them, and in Kenya is your village. You are not a nationalist, Kiir. South Sudan are even have given you the grace time from 15 years. This is more than a grace. Even God will not do that for you. And remember that you, Kiir, you will go like Saddam Hussein. And if you don't want to resign and leave the leadership to the people to change things, to select their leader, you will be hung like Saddam Hussein. Mark my word, President Kiir. After this, when there is a popular uprising, there will be no room for President Kiir to dialogue with the people. Because the first national dialogue was the opportunity for President Kiir to be forgiven by the people of South Sudan. But the SPLM missed the first opportunity. The first national dialogue. This is the second national dialogue. This is another opportunity for SPLM to reach out to the people that they have killed in Law Nuer, the people that they have killed in Western Barkazal, in Wow, the people that they have killed, all the Matianganyor teenagers that they have recruited and killed in Upper Nile. This is the opportunity, but President Kiir has missed that opportunity, and he went on and claimed credit that is God of South Sudan that has opened the door for others who did not contribute to share with them in the oil money.
Of course,
That's what he was.
That's what
That what he.
I tell you what.
That is what he.
You remember Tanyuga when he visited Australia and he said Salva Kiir is the God of J1.
Yes, he is.
Imagine.
He is. So President Kiir think that with his few MI military intelligence that are raping women and killing people in Juba and in other cities in Wau and in Malakal, he think he will be in government forever. President Kiir, you are a weak leader. We don't want you. Go back to Awan. Stay there in your luck because you don't deserve to rule South Sudan anymore. After 15 years, the people have honored you with 15 years of leadership. They have honored you with the respect. And then you abuse the trust that was put in you by talking against your own people, by insulting them, by abusing their wealth, giving the wealth to the foreigners in Kenya and Uganda, by supporting the election of Donald Trump with millions of dollars, when your people in Awan are dying of illiteracy, because you want them to be illiterate like yourself, President Kiir, so you can appeal to them through illiteracy that people are against Dinka. Please, you stand with Dinka. It is Dinka who liberated South Sudan. Therefore, I have to be a king of South Sudan. We don't need a king in South Sudan, President Kiir. In Dinka language, there is no word king. You have to remember that. And I know Kiir is not from Dinka. It's from Luo. This is not the behaviors of Dinka.
Neither Luo behave like that. We don't know where this behavior come from.
You call Luo of Kenya, they behave like that. That's why he was calling Kenyan to give his kids citizenship. He was appealing for Luo of Kenya. So he want his kids to be given citizenship of Kenya because they are from Luo. I know good Luo. Luo in Chuluk, Luo of Jurchol, they are good people. But President Kiir is not a Dinka. I'm saying this, and I know what I'm saying. Kiir is not a Dinka. He's selling out Dinka because he's at the end of the day, he's not a Dinka. So what I want to say, the best solution is not to go to Juba and make peace with Kiir. That peace will be put in the drawer. Ask Uncle Dr. Riek Machar what happened to his peace. What happened to Kiir peace, to Riek Machar peace? So if Thomas Cirillo believes that peace will be signed and he will be bringing peace in South Sudan, that is a lie. It's not going to happen. If anyone is thinking Exit Generation or any other group thinking that change will come through election, that is a lie. Kiir will steal election the same way he has stolen the election in 2010. Yeah. Tabandeng lost election. The wife of first vice president has won the election, Angelina Teng in Bantu, but Kiir stole the election for Tabandeng guy. Dao Aturjuk won the election in Awil, but Kiir stole the election for Malong, and later he betrayed Malong. George Ator won the election in Jongule, but he stole the election for Kwal Manyangjuk. This mentality of Kiir that he will never change it. He does not want democracy. He wants to be the king in South Sudan. But I'm telling you, Kiir, because you are not a Dinka, you don't know that in Dinka there is no word called king. If you go to the Bible of Dinka, that is translated in Dinka, they borrow the words in Arabic, Melingda. We don't have the word prophet in Dinka language. We call it Nebida. Nebida is Arabic word. It's borrowed and put in the Bible in Dinka, Nebida. The word king, we don't have it in Dinka. They borrowed the word, Arabic words called Melingda. So in the Bible, we talk about Melingda because Dinka don't have the word king. So you may join the Sholo kingdom, That's why I'm saying you are from Luo, because they have kingdom. It's not because Luo are bad people. I know so many great Luo people from Jurchol and so many great people from Cholo. But what I mean that Kiir is not a Dinka, is from Luo. He want kingdomship. Therefore, if Kiir want to be a king, you join your Luo people in Cholo. Try to negotiate with those of Cholo if they will give you a chance to be their king, because you are from Luo. But if you want to tell us you are the only person who liberated because you got skinny and you fought for 21 years, therefore we have to compensate you and your family and your clique, your criminal group with the country. There's no any human being that has been compensated by a country in the history of humanity. Even Jesus Christ was not compensated by Israel. So who are you, President Kiir, to continue to loot people, public money, and to create poverty, create hatred, create mistrust among the people, and believe that with your head, with empty mind and just head, that you will bring peace through national dialogue? That is a lie. There is no peace through national dialogue through you. There is no peace through peace agreements. No matter whether you sign 50 peace agreements, you will not implement them. Because in your dictionary, President Kiir, you don't have the word implementation. You will never implement any agreement. So the best way, my fellow South Sudanese citizen, is President Kiir to go home. And he will not go home. We have to get up, stand up, go for political popular uprising. Popular uprising to change the entire system of the SPLM. Like what happened in Sudan. It is possible. It can happen. It can happen. We can change the government of SPLM, and a new government will come up that has nothing to do with SPLM. And President Kiir and his group in SPLM, they have missed their opportunity to be forgiven by the people. If they meant national dialogue, I have told the people last week, and I will repeat it, they would have gone with Riek Machar to Law Nuer, apologize to Nuer people that we are sorry, we have killed your people in Juba, and that is against humanity and against God and against human rights. The Nuer people of Law will forgive Kiir and Riek. They must go also to Wow, if they mean national dialogue, to apologize to innocent petite people and people of Wow that were gunned down in Wow. They need to go to the parents of Matianganyor to apologize to their parents that we have killed your children through the unnecessary war that we have created. If Kiir cannot go and in public come with Riek Machar and apologize in public and compensate the victims and make one national apology day to be a public holiday, then we are not going to buy the cheap politics of so-called national dialogue.
It's not.
Kiir should have come with Riek Machar and all the SPLM and apologize and make one day to be well known to all South Sudanese as a national apology day.
Riek Machar is not part of national dialogue actually, because
yes,
he knew actually this national dialogue that of Salva Kiir Mayar proposed is to sabotage the peace that they have signed, which is there was no peace whatsoever, because we said this long time ago, and I repeated it many times that I hope I could be wrong, but actually I'm right, because we said it's not genuine and it will never be genuine, because the peace agreement was signed, it was based on tactic to bring him from confinement, to prove to the world that we are doing peace agreement. So the pressure, that amount of pressure they were getting, it can just ease on them a little bit to get legitimacy, because they were running out of legitimacy. The time limit, that his term, 2018 agreement, 2015 agreement to 2018 expired. That's why he bribed the member of parliament to give him another mandate and bring Riek Machar and sign a deal. So people say, oh, well, there is salam, fi salam, fi salam. But actually, those who don't believe this, I don't know how we can explain to them. Yeah, they're lying to you. In your mouth, I can say, oh, that's
these are the people.
They want to be more stupid every day. But why? Why my sister? Why my brother? Why do you want to be like that? Actually, you are better than this. That's why I said you guys are smarter than this, what Kiir is doing to you. You see, there's red faces, you know, when we are telling them the truth. But I want them to take this moment, you know, one day, you know, to revise all this. Just as yourself, a brother, a sister. Just define in your own way. Ask yourself why we fought the North. Why? Why we fought the North? Ask yourself, was it what? Just for sake of fighting? What it is? And then they will find solution. They will find the answer. If they find the answer, they will know that there is something wrong right there in Juba. There is something wrong with Salva Kiir Mayardit. Moses, I think we are running out of time. I want to just go ahead, give you 5 more minutes, and then we move on because I think I have to go on.
Yeah, thank you, Jonkor. You know, I know React is not part of National Dialogue because National Dialogue has copied what is in the revitalized peace agreement, and Kiir is not going to implement the revitalized peace agreement. Period. We have said that Kiir is not going to implement the recommendation of the second National Dialogue.
We are not going to personal. We are not going to personal. We will never go to personal, my dear brother. I understand, but we are just to tell you, don't be complicit. We are not going to personal at all. We don't hate Kiir as a person, but we hate the behaviors, you know, the way he's managing the country. That's what we hate. I don't want you to be a good boy and good girls. And you know that we have girls in South Sudan, educated, people not kharijat. Like with this regime, do position. And that's what some other girls are doing. Yeah, put good makeup and be and get some $50,000, and then well, I came my all quiz colors or Danny J1. But you know what? Just on the expenses of your dignity. Ita der kalam da inta kaman lo, if you sell your body. Lom, inta der kaman banad na nehna bardu na malom kida? La, kifaya inti. But we don't want to do it to our girls as well. That's why we are calling for, you know, decency. If you don't believe in decency, we do. We don't. You want to be good boys? That up to you. It's over. Good girls is over. But we don't want our girls to be good girls to those people. Go ahead.
Jonkor says in Juba, SPLM is a useless party. Even if you give your mother to SPLM, your mother, they will never respect you. They will never respect and honor you. So these people are criminal. A criminal is a criminal. Full stop. They have stolen the oil money. They have killed people. They have divided people and create hatred and mistrust among our tribe. This is the fact. We are not going personal. When I say Kiir is law, it is true. He has to go to Sholo where they have kingdom, because law have kingdoms, but other Dinkas, they don't have kingdom. Nuer don't have kingdom. If Kiir want to go to Nuer, they will reject him, because Nuer will not accept somebody to be a king. If you want to be in Dinka land, we don't need a king. We have the word king in Dinka language. Ask Kiir if it is a lie. Ask other Dinkas. Ask people who have studied the language, like Morwell Ater. Kiir Roy Ranechwai Kenyanyich with his group. So I'm responsible for this. We are not here to be afraid. Kiir has killed many people that are great people than me, and then all people in United Citizens for Change. Kiir must go. Kiir must go. We have to stand up, protest, and kick him out with all his criminals. And the people, the right brains from Dinka, from Nuer, from Cholo, from Jurchol, the great people of Jurchol, the great people will come up. The great people of Partit, the great people of Zande, the great people of Malut, of Rueng, the great people of Nuer land, they will come, great minds, and establish a real South Sudan, the nation that we need, that we dream about, not the nation that is underdeveloped. We want to develop our country to be better than Kenya and then all the neighboring countries. But through Kiir, South Sudan will remain poor forever. South Sudan will remain underdeveloped forever. We were not born to be ruled by empty mind with a head that claim that he is the only person who liberates South Sudan. Kiir alone has not liberated South Sudan. Yes, he contributed, but he should not talk in national dialogue and tell people that we have allowed people who did not participate to share with us. Is this oil, does it belong to Kiir Mayadit family? Is the oil in Awan? Why did Nuer not say that the oil belonged to us?
Do you remember what what the
So the money, the oil of oil does not belong to Kiir Mayadit or SPLM.
you know more will
God created the oil, put it down there for the South Sudanese, not for those people who think they have liberated us. Kiir, you have not liberated Awan even. You have not liberated Luanjang in Warab. You have not liberated anyone in Warab.
You know,
So
I agree.
Stop.
I agree
Yes.
with what Morwell said. Morwell gal, you know, parable in Monjang. Ukut gal yahi, gala one. You know one? Fox.
Awan e jamana chong mama beror. Kuchia diet kachin kidian do jayo.
That's
That's what Kiir is doing.
That's what it is. That's what it is. As long as now I am president, as long now my kids are getting good education, his younger wife in Nairobi, of course, his children are going to school there, you know, as long as I am the president, I have all these guards. My mother doesn't need to have another baby. I don't need any other babies anyway, because they are going to squeeze me in what I'm doing. That's what's happening in South Sudan. Yani, he want to go down. He want to go down with South Sudan. Mother Khali South Sudan to go up.
So my last,
Sudan.
I will say my last word, Jonkur, and allowed you to conclude because we are running out of time.
Sure.
I would like to invite all the opposition, whether you are from Soma, whether you are from
Go ahead.
Whether you are from Red Movement, whether you are from Exit Generation, Brother Peter Biar, we invited you to join us in the United Concerned Citizen for Change. Those in the Red Movement, we will welcome you. Suzanne Jambo, Mabor, all the other great people in the Red Movement. We need to unite. Emmanuel and anyone from the opposition, everyone who wants to see the change in South Sudan, we open our hearts and we want to unite. We don't care what you believe in. As long as you believe Kiir must go, they have to go. The SPLM has to go. We have to unite, mobilize our people for uprising. Political uprising is the solution. All this fake peace and national dialogue will not solve the problem. Kiir will be there forever as he wants to be the king. He will be there for 50 years. He wants to be in power until he died. And those who want to keep Kiir, they want to keep him because they are eating through him. And thank you very much. Let's unite, let's fight together, and let's not be deceived through national dialogue or through fake peace. If the peace agreement works, the current revitalized peace agreement that Riyadh has signed should have worked.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let's unite. Kiir must go and must go since 2018, not now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Moses Edward. It's always good to have you, dear brother. With that, I would like to conclude. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. أشكركم على حسن المتابعة دائما. نكون معكم إن شاء الله. We will not stop. We will not stop educating our people. We will not stop advocating, because as Dr. Martin Luther King said, the right time is when you're doing the right thing. Those who think this is not the right time are the ones that being complicit, are wasting their time. South Sudan is bigger than us. It's bigger than Kiir himself. It's bigger than anyone that needed a position. Okay? Core values: justice, liberty, and prosperity. Those are the core values South Sudanese fought for from all different walk of life, all the tribe of South Sudan. It is not impossible. People of South Sudan are able to do this. Al-Ghish, been going on since 2005. You know what? If you don't want to learn and you don't want to see it, you know what, we will keep going. But later, you will discover and you will say, oh, why did I do this to my brother and my sister? I should have been there on that boat, the boat of the truth. Markeba, without sah. But now people are saying, no, my uncle is there, I'm there, you know, you want to be a good boy, you want to be a good girl. Oh, I will get $50,000, I will get $200,000. Oh, they will give me money, actually, they will send me money, they will invite me to go to J1. They will do this to me. They will use you. No. They will use you. They will use your dignity, especially for women. Especially for women. Matam ay wazara illi gulek ha wallahi ana me and you kida you know inta wallahi filana kida. It's not qualification. Qualification of your beauty and your makeup. That's what they do. Fi corruption actor minda. And you want to pass that into your daughter? You want to pass that to other generation? No, no, and no. We will keep fighting for the right for the people of South Sudan. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night. You can say whatever you want to say.